Hey everybody, it's me, Remington, your old pal, once more casting off the prison of this fleshy mortal coil to broadcast my spirit, my essence, my potent energies onto the internet to play a terrible old game. I shouldn't call it a terrible old game. I really do enjoy this game. I'm just really bad at it, so it's just a terrible player playing an okay game. It's it. Let's get some music going. I don't know, some new stuff. Yes. Hanging out with the nice, free, royalty-free music. There's a lot of it out there now. Such a gigantic issue. A bit generic, maybe. That's pretty good. That's pretty. I don't need that loud. Bring that down a little bit. Hey, all right. So I'm sorry if my audio sounds like. I hope it doesn't sound like too much of hot garbage. I have not actually streamed any of this equipment before, and tested it, but they weren't hot tests, so I don't know what to say. Also, I have an air handler, an air conditioner, like a major vent, about 20 feet, less than 20 feet behind me. And when the thing ramps up, it like rattles everything, and I just can't do anything about it right now. So hopefully the music will mask some of that. I'm gonna let this warm up for a little bit here. Get a little bit less music. Excuse me while I play around with my audio settings here. Do let me know. Too jank. All right. Well, let's get going. I've been super busy lately, and I actually almost forgot about all of this, about setting this all up and getting everything going. So I feel fortunate that I am, actually here, streaming this game on the internet. I'm about to lose my mind with a lot of garbage going on, so this is what I need. This is exactly what I need. So I'm excited to get on and play this. I haven't really touched this game since the last time I streamed it. I think I opened it just to make sure audio stuff came through and checked the controller inputs, and that was about it. So I've forgotten all of it. I remember the last time I spent a lot of time looking at walkthroughs and watching videos. It helped a little bit. I still have some of that information, but I didn't get that much closer to finishing anything. I feel like this is the kind of game you got to play more and practice at, and get the patterns down and get good with it, and I'm just not there. Maybe by the time the next one rolls around, which let's see real quick. When is the next one? I'm already planning the next one, because I've already decided that this one is probably not going to satisfy me. When is the next? Friday the 13th. May 22. So mark your calendars down, because if I'm still alive and kicking and able to pay my bills enough to maintain an internet connection in May 2022, we'll be back. And if you're not interested today, maybe leave and come back in May 2022 and see if things are any bit better for you. I don't know. Yeah, well, I think we can bring this game in here. I have to turn it down because of that. This opening screen is horrendous if you're just sitting here listening to it over and over and over again, and they just keep pounding that knife into that mask, and the sound is very accurate because it is like a knife pounding into my head on repeat. Yes. And my input's not work. Ooh, here. Oh, my controller. So I'm using a different controller now, and I'm hoping that this one. I'll take it back. I did test a little bit. I did test it a little bit to make sure that you know, it actually worked with this game, which it did before. Maybe it's not gonna now. To see if the D-pad was any better, because I was having a lot of trouble in the cabin fights with the D-pad costing me lives. Not my skill. My skill is impeccable, I think. It was probably just the D-pad, the typical broken controller. It was an 8-bit Do, like Nintendo. I'm guessing that's how it's intended to be pronounced. 8-bit Do, I guess. That makes it sound like something that came out of my dog. What's this? The SN30 Pro, which is, I think it's made to work with the Switch, but you can hook it up to the computer too, which is what I do, and it worked pretty well. But now, of course, it's not. So, give me 1 second. Hope you enjoy my ultra generic stream layout here too. I spent not a lot of time and zero money on it, so it shows. Where's my inputs? I might have to close and restart this, or is this? Oh, I tested something before. Oh, this is just gonna break everything, isn't it? Technology. Here we go. Okay. And the sound is gone. Fun, fun, fun. I'm glad I don't do this for a living, because I'd be fired. Yes, 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 yes. All right. That's bingo. There we go. I've been using this new piece of equipment just because I enjoy these gadgets more so than I actually get any actual legitimate use out of them. I picked up the Go XLR, which I think is a really cool piece of hardware for everything that you can pipe through it and run and control through it and mix things up. And what the coolest part to me is all the different audio interfaces it gives you. But it's cool that you can set that, and in Windows itself, you can set different applications to use different audio outputs or inputs, so you don't have to stick to the default. But it's like hit or miss. Like, most of the stuff I've used will work based on that, but a lot of the software that I've run and tested, you have to like play with it. You gotta tickle it a little bit to keep it running. The emulator I'm using to run this game, since emulated, every time I open it, I have to go in and deselect the Go XLR input and change it to something else, and then change it back, and then it works. That's a little irritating. I did some tests with Minecraft, because I play a lot of Minecraft, and that I have to, there's like a trick to it. Every time I open Minecraft, I have to load a resource pack, let the game reload, and then turn off the resource pack if I don't want it on, and that forces it to reload. And if I don't do that, Java just won't take the audio device. So, good times. It's fun playing with this stuff, playing with it, figuring this stuff out. And it is somewhat relevant to some stuff I do at work, but not enough to, really earn me money. I take a sip of my delicious coffee here. Just building that audio landscape for you. All right, well, enough fooling around here. Let me start the game. And do let me know if the audio is not sufficient. I'll make some adjustments. Aside from just enjoying playing this game and wanting to have some fun streaming stuff, a lot of these streams, because I do so infrequently, end up being like experimental things for me and testing different stuff that I really could test other times, but you know, it's just not really the same until you go live. Alright. We want to get the cabin first. I want to remember. We're looking for cabin. Some stuff I have to do. So this is to get the torch. So you gotta jump around enough because you kill zombies. Every character has a different zombie that a different number of enemies you have to kill that will cause items to appear as you jump. And so in order to pull this off, you have to kill enough zombies and jump around to different parts of the map. So you get a lighter, probably want a knife. Knife's cool too. Actually, I think you need the knife for this. Such is cool. It's essential, like all knives. And then you go to a specific part of the map and follow this paper trail around until you get a torch, which is an awesome thing in the game. I remember last time I tried to get multiple people to have the torch and I couldn't quite pull it off. But I think I'm always just missing some steps of it. Like I read half the instructions and just jumped right into it. Now I've got a giant ball of Pester's plastic cement. Melted 57 Chevy. You can't get that kid more. Right, so I have to go to Cabin North Road around the lake, which I think is that biggin right up there. Okay. Let's just call. I don't remember how fast any of these people are, how good any of them are. So, immediately get killed by a zombie while I put the audio settings. Just want to bring the game down just a little bit. Oh! Oh yeah, he's so... okay, so down there, huh? Just get this cabin. Yep, slower. Slower. Oh! Oh, here we go. I'm gonna die immediately. Don't worry, this is the warm-up. That's what I say every time. Every time is a warm-up. Oh, no. Yeah. You can pull this off on the first day, but it's usually not that great. Usually not that great to fight him in the cabins. It's worse on later days. So let's see, where is a... I think the ladder just appears at random with the knives or specific places. And there's one nearby here. Cool. Click off of this. Get me out of this house. There's a lighter. And some juice. Vitamin juice. I never found any more answers as to what the vitamin juice is. Besides, it's vitamins, you know, which is awfully generic. If you ask me. Okay, so I need on command. There's a knife. Okay. So I want to say there's this big cabin. And what do we do in this big cabin? We cabin on the lake, move forward and turn right. There we go. Let's see. Go into the woods. And then, so then from this, we're going to go into get a key. So where are the keys up here? There's the nearest key from here. It's on the other end of the lake. Gotcha. Book it. Now, jump into minimum. You don't want to jump in the wrong spot. I should look at the stuff a little bit. Ah! Get that. Precious water there. That precious vitamin water will save you from death by Jason. Yes. Well, this man is not captain of the rowing team for sure. Hey, buddies. Oh boy. Oh. Get out my cabin. Stay away from my children. I don't think Jason ever killed, like, street children in the movies. And it seemed like it was always taboo, at least for those movies. It was just one of them where they were, like, tangentially imperiled, and that was what they would give them. Like, they were there, and they were terrified, but he still killed them. This one was half a top and half. That's pretty cool. Especially when he comes back as a zombie. And there's the key. Okay, so we got the key. Cool. Moving on. From the key. To the upper woods. The south entrance. Right up into the cabin. Fair enough. I don't know if this guy's gonna make it before. Let's start getting Jason coming after kids again. Pick the best character for this. But you know what? That's fine. Make it out without killing a few kids. Are you all the way over there? Who's nearby? Because we can't lose these kids. Oh, wait. That's right. Who's nearby? Why, that's Chrissy's house. Well, Chrissy, you are the sacrifice here. I'm stuck on Mark. It's getting late. Getting late. I don't remember what that means. More enemies, for sure. The big takeaway here. Not doing hot in the first run, not making great progress. Oh god. Couldn't quite do it. Okay. So here we go. So I'm at the cabin. And I swear you'd think I'd have this stuff memorized by now, but I really I only look at it once a year, so I don't know what to tell you. Leave the cabin, then re-enter it. Alright. Fair enough. That sounds like a reasonable course of action. Firewater damage Jason the most. Cool story, bro. Was I supposed to get the axe? I'm gonna give it to somebody else on the way. I didn't really come here for the axe, but whatever. So now this cabin is the woods. They're going right down. Right down. Okay. Am I trapped here forever? Ooh. These dogs after me. Right down. Right, I just looked at it. I can't remember. I've already forgotten it. Right down. Right down. Write it down. I did write it down. That's why I'm looking at this. Write it down. Write it down. Write it down. Okay. It's over there. Now, return to the cabin north of the road. Or should be on the ground now. Oh, I can't do anything here. Get out of my way. Alright, George. Wow. George is really getting his ass handed to him out here. Well, I'll take my chances in the streets. Hey, it paid off. Okay. So now I return to the cabin north of the road. Wait for the forward and turn around. So we're on the ground now. Right this way. Of course, I just right by it. Get away from me. Oh, I got the machete, but I don't need the machete. Turn around. So it works out quite well, really. I don't even bother killing these guys. Ah! Damn bird. No. No. Ah! Okay. I just eyeballed Jason's health. Maybe that's not the best. But this does do, you know, some damage to him here, so that's fine. You coward. Okay, where's he gonna go from here? He exits out the other end, which is where he came from, and then he runs up the lake. So in theory, I could maybe chase there? No, I think I have to get him out of the house to chase after him. It's the final confrontation. It's far from it. Let's get through these zombies and birds. Alright. Now, I can, want to say, pass the torch to Debbie. And then change out to Debbie. And just leave. Misjudged that. Thought I was already in the... No, don't want that knife. Alright, Laura's looking bad. Alright, well, let's do this. Let's do the dance. There you are. Come on, Jason. Let's boogie. Took a chance. Not a good chance. It's not a good stab in the dark. Gotcha. Oh boy. You win for now. That's the good stuff. million times worse when I'm looking at some crude SketchUp where I think he's supposed to be going from there. And then find out that I got the path all wrong. So I don't know how valid a strategy this is, but I guess you can go through and just grab that torch and pass it off to other people. And then, I don't know if you can go through the same process with the same person multiple times. I don't think I can. She hasn't already gotten it, so I can pass. There, I can pass the torch off to somebody else. There we go. Oh yeah! Man, that's a lot quicker to kill him in the streets. Which is probably some real truth there. And I just realized that I haven't been picking up my legit damage here. I spent so much time, and I knew this was going to happen. So I actually spent a lot of time trying to come up with a way to do this stuff automatically, but it didn't work out. Jason's still out there, stronger than before. So, oh good, our health is all back up, so now I've got to get all busted up. Too far. Oh, please. Yeah, I know I forget to hit those buttons. That's something for next time. I can get some kind of automated tool going, which I actually started working on. We just ran out of time. It's a very busy time for me. Trying to mark what's close by there. This time, we'll see if he fits the bill for this. Let's do this process again. I've already forgotten every step of it, every step of the way. I've already forgotten. It's a real hectic time at work, and the kind of guy that work rarely stays in the office when we're busy, so it's not great. All right, fast guy. There's the lighter. All right, so this is the cabin, and there's the key. I need a knife. I think I already got the knife, so just go all the way down to the bottom. All the way down to the bottom. Yes, this way. Ladder. Good. I'll take that. Vitamin juice. Like an ice level in this. This is a nightmare. I don't know why I ever thought I was going to beat this game. Like, ever. I mean, I'm fighting with rocks here. I'm fighting a zombie serial killer with rocks. Here we go. Down. I don't even have time to react to get beat up. I'm just gonna put it at what my current state is, which is somewhere in here. Getting beat. All right, so this is going great. This is going swimmingly. How am I gonna hit it? Move your busted bones. Back what I said about this game being good. I want to get back. Alright, well, here comes Debbie. Little Debbie about to get punched to death. Keep that up, that's for sure. Where can I find some precious vitamin juice? It's at the outside track. Can I escape this lake, the lake of peril, without getting murderized by some drowned zombie people? Probably not. Jason's just gonna roll out. I remember being very frustrated at the lake as a child, like excruciatingly so. Yes. Just because, like, how many times I would go through that level, vitamin juice, how many times I would go through that level, just to get, like, plowed by Jason repeatedly, shark finning his way through the water. It's just an absolute nightmare. Let's check the Daniel map. Is he ever going to leave that lake? Because he's just going to keep chilling in that lake forever, just rounding round and round that. I'm going to follow this path. Every time I say this, though, I end up dooming myself. specific locations on the map where items appear, and whether or not the item appears depends on how many enemies you've killed. Each counselor has a certain number of enemies they have to kill in order to trigger an item to appear, and then you get them to appear once you hit that number, which is invisible. You just have to keep track of yourself. It doesn't show you anywhere. And then you jump around, and then the items will appear. The problem is once you pick up that item off the map, that item is gone for good. Now, if you ignore that item and let it just kind of disappear or respawn in the Martin Parlance, then it's still going to be there. But if I pick up like the vitamin water I just picked up, nobody else can get that. I can't get that again. That's gone for good. So it adds an extra bit of challenge to it. Because that's your only way of refilling your health besides surviving to the next day. So you don't want to waste that stuff. Which I'll say it did. I think the last guy who was no, Paul's got it. Debbie's up there. I'm gonna take Paul. Let's go check out Paul's deal. Paul, what's your score? Paul's got the juice. Can Paul make it? Probably not. They're probably gonna get destroyed by zombies here. I gotta grab that knife. What? Oh! Alright, get the knife. You can drive here. And make it to this next cabin alive. Switch over to Chrissy, who's in the cabin. Chrissy, once again, you are going to be sacrificed. I'm leaving. No, I can't leave. How about the double tap, man? I don't want to bite your slap chop. I do not love slapping your nuts. Nope. Get out of here. You win for now. Do I, though? I mean, is it ever really a victory? The prize you get to beating Jason is that you get to keep fighting him. You get to continue living on in this nightmare world he's fabricated. What is even the deal with these zombies? I talk about this a lot. Wouldn't jump. Wouldn't do it. I just want to get to that little cabin there. And then I can, not that. For the win. I could just pass. Since Paul's not that fast. His skills, his power, his prowess isn't that good. But he's got more health. But no. No, it won't change. She's got the juice. She's not really faster. What was I thinking? What was I thinking? George. Oh, the rush attack is back at us. It's after that gingivitis. He thrives on it. You know, like in Last of Us, some of the zombies are all like fungal based. What if there was like a gingivitis based zombie? Another one. You know what I'm saying? It's coming this way now. It's gonna be real tricky. take my eyes off of Debbie and forget how terrible Debbie is. Shitty trap. Oh, Lord Almighty. Back at the lake, can I afford to lose any children? I don't think I can, but I definitely can't get anywhere fast enough, so I guess we're just gonna have to see. We're just gonna see how this plays out. I can already tell you it's gonna play out. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna lose. The children are gonna die. I'm gonna get that screen that tells me that me and my friends are dead. Things happen. Sometimes you go to summer camp and they get attacked by people that look like their bodies are the consistency of chicken nuggets. Hey, Paul. Nowhere near the lake. Nowhere near the lake. Nobody's anywhere near the lake. Is Chrissy better? I think Chrissy might be faster. You're up, Chrissy. You're at bat. Oh, wow. Yeah, she's booking. Nothing but rocks, though. Woo! Wow, she's really stopping there. Can I make it to the lake in time, though? This is fun. I'm gonna stop to fight these zombies because they're too fast with the rocks. That's where I want to be. Hey! Yeah, look at that. Just vault over him. And he just stumped on these nerds. And she's gonna die. How you doing, Chrissy? Yeah, you're about there. You're about there. Maybe about there. Push it out there. Ah! Oh, crap. Well, I mean, they're already dead. No point in crying over their poor little shattered bodies now. I wonder if there's a potion that's down by that cabin that's back this way. I think I did. Legit. Hey! Yeah, she's just gonna die from lack of weaponage. The conga line. Oh boy, lighters! Oh, I've never seen one of those before. Pretty wild arm on her, though. What would you do if you're walking behind somebody, you know, minding your business, coated in your chicken nugget batter, and they just kept stopping and turning around to you? Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. Oh, no. Oh, no. Chris, you're looking rough there. Just trying to get some zombie kills. Trying to pick something up, but I probably already got everything there is to get.
Little Debbie. Little Debbie's gonna have some snack cakes.
Slow Debbie. What? It's just... I just can't stand the fact that Debbie's so terrible. She's just awful. She's bad in virtually every way, and she has this awesome weapon. I can give it to Paul. Paul isn't much better either. You know, the thing about this is really like typical for what happens when I play this game, that I end up losing out. Yep. And Oh god. Oh god. Oh, come on, man. That was like my scalp. Chrissy, why? I don't see them coming back for this. I really don't. This is round one. What was it? Did they move? They have to. Am I losing my mind? I'm losing my mind. They have to move. God, he's just hanging out in that cabin. He won't leave the cabin. There was no duck in that one. Thing like used to them coming up and down. I'm not really used to them shooting forward like that. All right, let's dance. Let's dance. I think I don't have a shot. Maybe. No. No. Alright, Debbie, it's all in your incapable hands. You know, I've read a lot about this game and seen a lot of them, but I've never seen anything that looks like the justification for how weak these kids are. And it makes me ask if the developers knew people who were named this who were just like, make Debbie the slow one. I hate Debbie. I would say that would have been bad. I don't think things could be worse. I don't think things could get worse here at Crystal Lake. About to lose it all. Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. No. Do you find it odd that you can't jump on the boat? I mean, I know what the game is. I know what's going on with it. But I mean, I still feel like you should be able to jump when you're in the boat. There's zombies coming out of the water. You can't tell me that that's like too much. Jeez, oh no. You and your friends are dead. Game over. And here we go again. Like a knife in my brains. Well. Hey man, that's fun times. It's fun times. No, that was fun. All right. Well, let's just I'm not gonna get out of this. Go back to the screen. I find it odd too. Like this, I don't get. I don't remember if the actual cartridges. I'm pretty sure it does. They hit start once, right? And then you get the music, and you just get a black screen. Somebody's probably at the door. And it's probably somebody that lives here. Hey! Oh, there's a name I recognize. How's it going? It's funny because I was looking at something on my channel today, which I haven't done in forever because I have not been able to produce videos forever. And I saw your name. I'm going to mispronounce it. Melusina? I will butcher it. I apologize. But I saw your name in one of the comments from a previous video. 6 years with no videos. You are a treasure. And maybe I'll get videos back. I'm not gonna make any promises. I'm not even gonna make like flimsy half guarantees. I'd like to do more stuff. I'd like to stream some stuff and get some videos put together and put some stuff out there. I hit a rough patch with things. Work got like really overloaded. I mean, this is like the, you hear this from all kinds of people. And work got super busy, and work, paid a lot more than I could reasonably make doing anything else. So I let myself just get like devoured by it. And then we had some roommates for a while that were very loud, very distracting, and there's a lot of drama going around. And then the next thing I knew, it was several years since I put a video up. After a while, it was just like, I don't even know what to say. I don't even even want to go on my channel and look at it and put another post up saying something's coming soon when I know nothing's coming soon. But I do stream every Friday the 13th at the very least. I do stream every Friday the 13th. And they're typically not archived. I say that like I've been doing this for a while. This is the second time I've done this. Yeah. Yeah, Nick is also alive. Thankfully. Mercifully. That is my first cup of coffee completed. So I'm going to take a quick moment to refill that coffee. Yeah, it's been wild. Um, you know, I'm thankful that most of the people, everybody I'm really closest to has dodged the worst of the stuff, health-wise anyway. I did know a couple people who didn't fare so well, so it's been rough, and it's a lot of craziness, you know. I don't want to linger on this too much, but you know, throw the stuff out there. It's crazy, like most of the people that I worked with prior to this, I can lower the game audio. Yeah, sorry. I got this new setup, and I toyed around with it a little bit, but I'm a real poor judge of the levels on things, so I appreciate your feedback, and please let me know if I need to continue to adjust things. Which one, the game, or is the music still piping in too hot? Cool. All right. Yeah, I'm even I do a lot of this stuff for a living, but I'm a really horrible judge when it comes to the broadcast end, because you know, everything that I can preview is not necessarily what's going out. Oh, good. Yeah, but think about upgrading my mic, just because I just want to burn through all the money I could ever possibly earn on stuff that I may or may not ever use. But I don't think it's gonna resolve the big issue I have. Right now, the biggest issue sound-wise I have is air conditioning. There's a furnace vent that I can't do anything about. I'm trying to cover stuff over, but it just doesn't help that much. Yeah, it's been crazy. So what I was just gonna say, like I went from working to an office full of people. We're all very busy. We're all, you know, keeping up with a lot of different stuff. And then there's a lot of weird random shifts in the labor. And then all of a sudden, like half of the people that I worked with are now part of a larger organization we're connected to, and they don't really work within the same organization. They still support the organization. And this coincided with everybody going fully remote. Sounds fine. Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate the feedback, and I appreciate you let me know so I can make this work better for now and for the future. It just became like a ghost town. Like everybody was remote. We are on site support, so we're still there with nobody to support. A lot of my coworkers I'm never going to see again because they're never going to return to the office. So on the rare opportunity that somebody comes in, I'm like a ravenous dog that hasn't eaten in weeks. Like, hey, how's it going, human beings? I'm sure that doesn't make me their favorite, but it's really wild, and it's caused a lot of weird headaches. And it's just, even now, like, even when people are starting to come back in other areas, most of the offices around me are going to remain empty just like forever. So, and it all just like coincidentally happened at the same time. So it's been nuts. Intro to YouTube Let's Plays. Oh, that's really cool. Is your Mel, is your channel still up? So totally want to check it out and see what you put up there. Yeah, I was super into this. I know Nick was too. Was really into trying to get stuff out there. I never felt like I really found my footing on stuff. I think my biggest problem was doing Minecraft, just because I really enjoyed Minecraft, and it was a game I could see like playing continuously for a long time. But the problem was that there were for me, and this is why you should, run your own race. Yeah, couldn't be done remotely. Yeah, I've been in the same boat, different position, but same boat. We do a lot of on-site support. Oh, Shadowlands 2. Oh, I'm gonna check those out if they're still up. I'll find them somewhere. But yeah, I remember doing a lot of Minecraft stuff, and like I was having a lot of fun with it. And as each video I put out, I would try some different stuff with editing and cutting stuff together. But then you look at somebody else's videos, and the stuff they were building was just, to me, like so much more impressive and exciting. But I could also see, how many hours of the game they were playing for like a 20-minute video was just wild. And it was too much for me to try and cram that in while working a full-time job. And I always have that feeling that's like, if I didn't have this full-time job, I could commit more time to it. But then a lot of these people I'm watching, they're working the full-time job like the whole time. Red Hat Math. General Red Hat Math itself. I will check that out. Make a note of that. After this. After I surrender to the nightmare. But yeah, other people like doing that along with the full-time job. Obviously, I have no idea what their job is. I'll tell you one thing. I walked into a convenience store today, and I was chatting with the dude behind the counter. I really appreciate that. Yeah, definitely not enough mental capital to go around. Mal, I really appreciate that. I really tried with the edits. Tried to do something different and fun. I still look back as I was watching one of them today, which is probably the first time I watched it in 5 or 6 years. I really miss that stuff. It was just hard to commit to sit down and record that stuff. And then, like a hard drive failure, you lose a bunch of footage. It's like, well, I can't undo this stuff. I can't rebuild it. Yeah, it was too much. Yeah. And then especially, if you're working, specifically I can relate to working like with IT, at least in where I work. Like the knowledge jobs, it takes a lot of time to commit to that stuff. Even outside of work, it's hard to just, back off of that when you get home and just like, I'm not going to fall for the Paul trap again. It's hard to back off of that stuff when you get home and like work on something else. At least for me, it was just too much. And the job duties just got like more and more and more. But I went to the convenience store this afternoon, and I was talking to the dude behind the counter, and he pointed out how they're what was it? The person before me was asking if they had slushies, and like, no, we don't have slushies anymore at this location. And there's another store at the same place, like just up the block. And I guess when they opened that, they like heisted their slushie machine and moved it over there. I'm like, is there that much hot competition over slushies that you can't have them within like a certain square meterage of each other? You gotta shift them around that much. You don't want to cannibalize the business of slushies. And it's like, no, they're trying to save money, because now, and he points at the sign, like, now that the starting pay is $15 an hour. And I thought, I'm like, I do make more than that, and in benefits and stuff, but like, I could probably live on $15 an hour to some extent, and then have a job where it may suck during the day, but like, and I don't want to sound like I'm you know, talking down to that kind of job. You know, work's work. But to me, like, when you're working that kind of work, like, you leave it at the end of the day and like that's it. Like, you're not, you know, I hope that you're not like lying awake at night thinking about the slushy machine and how you're going to answer that question, or like you know, oh god, how am I going to get all this stuff taken care of before the start tomorrow? Like, it just kind of, I feel like the things kind of take care of themselves. Mark, you have been marked. No, I can't leave. Unprepared for the slowness of his attacks. I mean, I've worked, you know, retail. I've worked the counter before, and it's definitely, you know, it will drain you in different ways. I just feel like it's the kind of thing that you can walk away from and leave at work. Yes. It says, started feeling bad not using spare time studying certifications, advanced career. I hear that, and I've cut way back on just video game playing in general, even without recording stuff. At first it was because I had such a hard time getting recordings going that I felt like, you know, I should be recording this. I can't play this without recording this because I need to get something useful out of it. And then it just gradually turned into like, I really need to start pursuing something more serious. And it's, you know, career wise worked out, but like life satisfaction wise, not as much. Just dread returning to that slushy hell the next day all night. Yeah. I can imagine. I worked in a comic book store, right? And I was in high school at the time, and I talked to so many people when I worked in that comic book store who were just like people I went to school with that were like, oh man, that must be so great. And I'm like, it's a job. It's a job, you know, and you got good customers and bad customers, and good days and bad days, bad days. And, you know, but at the end of the day, like, I'd leave the comic book store and maybe read some comics and like go do whatever I wanted. Granted, I was making like $5.50 an hour, and I worked, you know, 3 days a week. Yeah, Mel, you sound like the same kind of position I'm in, where, you know, I had a low paying position, but I mean, I had like gobs of time. It was a very different world then, in the environment. But I remember when I started there, like, I was working night shift stuff, and what I managed was so much less, and there was so much less involved. And I remember prepping maps for a D&D game I was running several nights at work, because all I had to do was clean some equipment, which wasn't a lot, and then just be there to run a ID machine for somebody. And it felt like it was just like an immediate shift to like, you know, here's a bunch more money, but also like, you've got to manage all of this stuff. We need you to take care of all these different software tools and deal with all these different angry people all the time. Yeah, it doesn't leave much else for it. Juice, precious juice. I need a knife. And there's a knife coming up here. Oh. Are you in that lake? Are you in the lake? You're not in the lake. I'm shocked. I'm shocked that you're not in the lake. I'm gonna get that knife. I will take this knife and I will eat it. I'm not gonna eat the knife, but I will go.
Debbie, sweet Debbie.
Oh, Dell Call Center. Yeah. Yeah, it's nice. It's nice when you have a position that you leave and then you're done. But I guess that's, I always have a lingering hope in my head that there's some point where you can shift some of that trade-off where, you're like, I don't want to just like rest on my accomplishments. Be like, well, I don't need to learn anymore, because I know people and have worked with people who hit that point where they just didn't want to learn anymore. And it sucked for everyone who depended on them, because everything in tech keeps moving. And it leads to a lot of roadblocks for other stuff. But at the same time, like, I'm always hoping for that to hit that peak that's like, can I get paid a decent amount and not be eaten alive? I hope it's true somewhere. But I will say, like, all the success I've had there and the financial success it's given me and able to clear out a lot of debt. And, when all this stuff hit, I was able to help my family out with finances. And that, like, just meant the world to me to be in a position where I could do that. But every time I think about YouTube or I catch some new channel, new streamer, and get into it again, watching content people are putting out there, and all I think is like, what would have been if I had just stuck with it?
All right, Debbie.
Yes. Go to the streets. I'm going to chase you. I'm going to chase this man. I am going the correct way, I believe. It's in that house. Might go in this way. Oh, he might, but he might not. So here's the cutoff. So he may go in here, may go down this road I'm looking right at here, but he may not. There he is. So here's the rub. Like, so he went that direction, right? And so sometimes, like, he'll always come from the right side of the screen, but he may not necessarily be moving in the right side of the screen. So sometimes you want to go left, and could just be a Magic the Gathering streamer. Yeah, and it's such a crapshoot too with streaming. I mean, so here's something I've seen. I'm barely talking about the game. You've seen this game. There's not a lot to say. Yeah, this is a great game. It's got a fair amount of depth. It's just, I put the execution time as the major issue with this game. That I'm trying to do a lot of the stuff with the Nintendo, and it is kind of like janky, like the punch out dodging and things like that. And the controls make it a little bit rough. Something like this done in a more modern setting, I mean, there's plenty of like retro stuff out there that kind of could fit in with this, but like I just think that it suffered from, like, a lot of Nintendo games had all these systems in place that were hidden and weren't expressed in the manual, and you need to go through like a Nintendo Power, like, deep study to figure it out. And like, look at the Castlevania games and some of the secrets in those. And I think that nobody at that time gave as much attention to this game, because the parts of it that were bad left such a sour taste in the mouth that no one really wanted to dig into it. I say that just, I only in the past couple of years really dug into, like, I wonder if you can beat this game. Because previously I would just kind of play it and like fumble through it, and then I got serious enough to go look stuff up, and like, wow, I had no idea these items popped up at specific parts of the map. I had no idea there was all this stuff. All the counselors have like 5 or 6 hidden maps. You gotta call the 900 number to get tips. I actually called that once, and it's embarrassing. I called the Nintendo tip line one time, and it was because I had played Final Fantasy 3 and was obsessed with Moogles. I thought Moogles were awesome, and I wanted to see more Moogles. And so I rented Secret of Mana, and there was somebody's save game on it, and I said, I'm just gonna jump right in. And it was past the point where you get to the Moogle village, and so I called the Nintendo Power hotline to ask how I could backtrack in somebody else's save to go find the Moogle Vision, and the person on the other end, while friendly, was audibly perturbed by the fact that I wasn't asking how to advance in the game, but rather to go backwards. And I'm like, yeah, I know this is dumb, but I just need you to tell me. I'm at this place. I can describe it visually, but I don't know what it's called because I haven't actually played this game to get to this point, and I need to know, how do I get there? And they did show me how to get there. Man, they must have been like a real legit gamer, because they were just like pissed. Like, what do you mean? You're already done with that? No, but I want to see the Moogles. Now, granted, I was a child, so surely they had some connection to that. I can't have just been pros that were like, hey man, it's me. I'm getting ready for Nintendo World 96 and I need you to tell me, What does the manual call those zombie guys? I think they're just called zombies. I think that's it. Yeah, I need to devance. I want to devance my life. I don't want to advance my career anymore. I want to devance it. I want to crank this thing in reverse. I don't care if I'm doing 60 on the freeway. Just pop it back. Take me back. I completely derailed my own train of thought on stuff. But the YouTube and take a quick moment to decide. I think he circles through on here. There he is. All right, that was the right decision. If Debbie dies, oh, there's the question, because he doesn't go that way. He goes this way. Yeah. You look at YouTube and people who are successful on YouTube, and so much of what I see anymore is yeah, I spent a lot of time studying the algorithm. Oh man, but hitting these, just randomly thumbing these buttons the whole time and not getting my beat down meter going. What the hell was I talking about? Well, yeah, it just seems so boring to me. It's interesting from we're cracking the code, we're cracking the algorithm. But it's yeah, this guy's real successful, and I haven't watched the videos. There's a presumption that there's some kind of quality level to them. Their name, they must be doing something neat. And they're I watched a lot of YouTube and I followed what was successful, and I learned how to make my thumbnails that were more successful and how to put certain keywords in. I mean, it's the search engine optimization and all that, using keywords, and that's good sense. But it's if your content is entirely produced to trigger those buttons, to hit those switches and get that out there, if that's your number one concern more than any of it, it just seems really hollow and boring. But I guess it doesn't matter if you're making $1 million. If you're making big bucks, you make enough money, and then you can just do whatever you want once you're secure enough. And I guess that's not different from anyone else putting a grind in, but you compare that to people who have really low subscriber counts, who put a lot of work into stuff, who are putting out really cool videos. And then with Joel Haver, I think it's pronounced. You may have seen him if you watch as much YouTube junk as I do. He got real big doing these videos that were weird rotoscoped animation, and they're really entertaining. And he has a ton of content up outside of that that's just film work that's really good, and it didn't get really picked up or noticed. And he'd been doing it for years without really getting noticed until he did these weird rotoscope animation things. And he put a video out talking about that, how it was hey, I did all this other stuff, so please go check out my other stuff. He recently put a video out where he got a van. He's living in a van, cruising the country, which I thought was really cool. Just seems like a really cool guy. And he did a video that was hilarious. That was him on his road trip meeting up with another YouTuber, and the YouTuber is describing the success he had, and he's like, I put these videos up and just put stuff that was really good, and then I hit real success. And then the other goes to the other guy, and he's like, well, I just watched, and like, I hit my 1 million subs in like a month. It's good. He ends up choking the man to death, and that's kind of how I felt. Like, I don't fault people for finding success that way. Take what you can get. It just seems like, it just reminds me too much of like the weird like content farms for like those how-to videos that like skip steps, like the how-to cake in a cup that doesn't have any eggs in it, and so like if you actually followed it, none of the stuff would cook. And they're just like chasing the algorithm, and it sucks because it fills up like every channel, every search gets filled up with this garbage that is out there to game the system. And then everyone's going after that. And then that's all anybody's producing is like, hey, I figured out their algorithm too. There's a lot of stuff like that aggravates me in the world. And it makes me feel like an embittered old man who just doesn't get it because I just don't get it. And I am old and quite bitter at this point. David Jackson. Hi, David. Hope you are enjoying my random rant. All right. So beat him. Is he gonna? I don't think he runs. I think you got to meet him in the streets to get him to run into him in the streets, but it's still worth hopping around this way. See where he pops up next. Oh, here he is. Now Dubby's gonna die, and I can live with that. Now I could keep chasing him this way. Oh, I got that. I'm gonna keep chasing him this way. I remember being a kid and playing this, and like when you'd get to that point where, yeah, he leaves this place. When you get to that point where like the screen stops scrolling and Jason's coming, that was like, oops, time to defecate. Like that's it. That was the biggest takeaway I got watching playthroughs of this, that were like, no, don't avoid him. Make every opportunity you can to face them. And I was like, what? And it makes sense, but also seems like counterintuitive. Yeah, Debbie didn't die. I'm shocked. Jason just kind of walked off with it. Now she's only got 2 health bars left here, so she's pretty roughed up. She's not doing real great, but she can make it. Hello, Amber. Welcome. All right, where you at? All the way to the case. He just books it. I mean, granted, there's only like the one house, and I don't think he ever goes in that house. The one house in the corner there, but he just like, he really just rips it out to the lake. It makes sense, thinking about it, that Jason would really kick it in that lake, and how weird it is for him to be hanging out by a cave versus the lake. That seems like the obvious choice. Hang out by the lake. That's where you are. But at the same time, there's all this map. There's all this map going on here. There's just all this over here. Like Jason, he wanders over by the cave sometimes, which is weird and distant, and it makes more sense that he would just stay in the lake, right? That's where he lives. That's where he wants to be. He wants to be in his lake. He wants to go home. He doesn't want you around his lake. And maybe the woods around the lake, that makes sense. But like out in this cave, that somehow his mother's dead head is in the cave, which is supposed to be sort of analogous to the ramshackle hobo shack that he lived in Friday the 13th Part 2, where he had the sackhead, which is personally my favorite. Bumbling sackhead Jason is the best Jason. He's not the most iconic Jason, but he is my favorite. But yeah, so he's not, it doesn't make sense for him to be out here, but yet all this stuff here exists. They put this in the game, And then they're like, yeah, but you know what? This is where he wants to be. He wants to be right here. Little Jason just wants to go home. You know where the kids are. They're going to kill themselves. I mean, they might. You know, a lot of accidents happen on the lake. I'm just saying, you know, a lot of water. Like, there's all these zombies around there. Oh, new game. Are you talking about the Tom? Are you talking about the Friday the 13th? God, what do you call that? Asymmetric multiplayer? Maybe I'm getting too highfalutin. But where you're like the 3D game where you're actually Jason. Yeah, I kickstarted that game. I don't think I've opened it once. Oliver's here too. Hey, Oliver. Can Debbie make it? I don't think Debbie can make this. I'm gonna see if there's someone closer. I don't want Debbie to die now. I want her to live. Can someone... I mean, she's got the secret vitamin juice. Where's Chrissy? Chrissy is... Am I forgetting that Chrissy's bad? No, Chrissy's good. Zombies look exceptionally hairy. To say they're very hairy is one takeaway from it. You know, in that regard, if you look at it like hair, like fur, then they're very reminiscent of Anton Arcane from the motion picture Swamp Thing and his goof-tastic transformation into some kind of horrible wolf man, which those kind of effects fascinated me as a kid. I loved that movie as a kid. I thought him and his friend thought they were getting away with something, playing that on PS Plus during a sleepover. Hoo-hoo. I've heard good things about the game, and then I also already got knocked out. By copyright stuff. Which is part of why I don't really archive these, because I don't want to get sued by the writer of Friday the 13th, come after me for some royalty payments for my video that makes me zero money because I haven't uploaded videos in so long that YouTube changed their monetization policy and I am no longer monetized. Hit that like and subscribe button. Or the Gremlin, the original Twilight Zone episode with Shatner. Yeah, I can see that. I prefer to think that it's either like mud from the earth, like muck and mud from the earth, or that they are crispy fried humans. Like, what is that movie, Night of the Blood Beast? I want to say. No, I have to find this. I'll take a quick detour from Chrissy potentially getting murdered in the lake house. So I can find this image of a terrible chicken monster. These are all in black and white. This one looks like he's pooping on some rocks, which is probably not far from it. Come on, Google here. You gotta give me something here. How does nobody have like a better, clearer picture of the Blood Beast? This is an okay one. I don't think it showcases the absolute ridiculousness of this outfit from the film Night of the Blood Beast, which was, you know, supposed to be like a terrifying creature, as all those movies are, right? It sure didn't seem like it. I guess maybe times have changed a little bit too much. Right, so this is the Night of the Blood Beast. This is the Blood Beast. It's got like a beak. It just looks like a big sack of garbage. It's really giving this dude the business there. He looks very happy about it, though. He looks very pleased. But this is one of the possible interpretations I have, that there are a bunch of these heinous chicken monsters. Like if you deep fried Birdie from McDonald's, various McDonald's outfits, McDonald's commercials. It seems like it would be. Tucker and Dale versus Evil. That movie was great. The movie is fantastic. Love that movie. Looks like he's wearing a backpack. He's wearing a very large backpack, like those like giant teddy bear backpacks they used to sell. You just have like a man-sized thing attached. His rucksack just happens to be fashioned after a large mutant chicken. But that's the only way you can store all those sweet, sweet nuggies. It's got to go McDonald's and just pick up, you know, all the 20 pieces. He'll fight them. He'll fight them for those chicken nuggets. All right, Chrissy, you're up. Chrissy's got the juice. Chrissy's got a knife. She's got a knife and a dream. A dream of murder. I'm going to go the wrong way, aren't I? I think this is the right way. Chrissy's got the moves. This is it. We're good. Chrissy's got a key. Chrissy's going to go for... She's not the best rower. That's fine. Yeah, they all have such weird breakdown of stats. You can be a fantastic runner and not have any rowing strength at all. And then you throw your rocks incredibly high overhead, but are otherwise acceptable. Don't hide from me, Jason. Ho! Hide from me, Jason. Yeah. Yeah. It's got that axe. This is the worst axe I've ever seen. I mean, and I've seen some stuff. That's pretty bad. I don't even know why I even bother complaining about any graphics in this game. Everything looks fantastic. Look at this house. Look at this beautiful house. Don't you want to move into this cabin? Look at this amazing floor. Green carpeting, or it could just be grass. Just let it go back to nature. You've got that awesome green laser ceiling. You know, lets the sunlight in, but won't let the bugs through. Doesn't stop Jason. Look at this. That's probably got to be, what am I looking at there? Like an 85-inch screen there. You get your HD, Ultra 8K Blu-rays playing on that. You can stream in the highest def possible. No 3D glasses, though. That went by the wayside. So when the previous kids broke those, they got a little bit rough. Probably, I don't even know. I mean, this would be a modern day camp. I can imagine. They have these kids out in the woods and they just sit here playing the Fortnites on a big TV. Oh, look at the size of this TV. This must be what they call the ultra wide. It's the ultra wide cabin. The layout inside that just makes me terrified. All right, Chrissy got a key, and I think Chrissy got a lighter. Did she get a... I didn't see a lighter. Maybe she doesn't have a lighter. Get out of there. She was booking. She's got the lighter. So we can go for that torch. And I've done some damage to Jason. I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay this time when I'm not even trying, because I'm too distracted conversing with people who have kindly come to watch this. Now, what does it say if the carpet matches the ceiling? And what is the ceiling in that analogy? What if your carpet was made out of like... What if your carpet was just plaster? Like they just had like drywall or stucco, or like that stucco that's really spiky, and that was your floor? And just imagine, like, it'd be like walking on Legos all the time. If you had to bend down and pick something up, if you fell, everything you dropped would just explode instantly. What if it was drop tile, like what they put in the, drop ceiling, and just had that crunchy fiberglass just digging in? Why don't they use more of these materials? Mix it up a little bit. Put some spikes on that floor. Make it miserable. Make it a house you hate to be in. And that's how we solve the real estate crisis in this country. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Where do we take Chrissy from here? I'm by the cabin of the lake. I can do this. I could roll her up there and get it. So I got to go to the cabin north of the river. I got to get out of this house. I have no time for you, Paul. I mean, yeah, barefoot the bathroom, middle of the night would absolutely be, it would be a challenge. But you know what? That's what you're training for. You're working those calluses on your feet. You're working them to a fine metallic sheen. This is like some, 36 chamber Wu-Tang type of stuff. This is the modern equivalent of those robot horses that will beat you so bad your limbs fall off. And you get out there, you just grind that, and before you know it, you're just like, you're busting through brick walls with that. You're destroying a man's skull with the merest tap of your foot. You're walking on fire. The applications are, well, they're far from limitless. They have some very severe limits because it's pretty much localized entirely to the sole of your foot. But if the sole of your foot was indestructible, you could do some things. I'm not going to go as far as to say you could do a lot of things, but I will say you could do some things, Take it. Take the ladder and go into the woods. Yes. Get in the woods. And see, but this is, if you're training to walk over broken glass to escape Jason, what I've learned is that that's the mistake. You want to train to walk on broken glass to get to Jason, because you're not running from him. He's running from you. He just happens to punch really, really hard if you catch up with him. But he's more afraid of you than you probably are of him. Oh, that didn't work. Okay, get out of the woods. I could be one foot man. I call myself Soul Man, S-O-L-E. I'm a soul man, and just have like soulless shoes. God, that would be. I mean, just imagine the freedom your life would have if you went through a little bit of sacrifice and suddenly you felt nothing on the bottom of your feet. Maybe it wasn't that it's not harming you, but you just don't feel anything. You walk barefoot anywhere, walk over Legos, broken glass, nails, drive that way, just throw your blackened, dead feet up on that desk. That's a real power move. If you're sitting in that meeting and you just put your feet up there and the soles of your feet are darker and rougher and more craggly than the molten asphalt on a summer day, no one's going to ask you for those reports. They're going to leave you alone. Yeah. Those teenagers, well, it's Jason fighting teenagers is kind of like if any regular person hurled themselves into a big vat full of mice, right? Because like individually, you just bust those mice up. You go into a big pile, you can get a lot of those mice. It's just a numbers game at that point. Sooner or later, one of those mice is gonna have a gun, and then that's it. The more you have, higher the chance of bullets. Simple mathematics. Read any math textbook. It's right there, right about the middle. Need to move right, up, and up. Right. Up. Ah! Couldn't dodge the wolf. All right. Into the cabin. Take it. Take it. Take the letter.
Fire will damage Jason the most.
And now we have to write down. And write down. Write it down. Write it down. We're going right down. Write down. Write down. Write down. Write down. Stay away from me, wolf. Oh, juice. Oh, yes. Write down. Write down. I don't need another key. I noticed I didn't get the axe that time. The axe has some specific properties, some specific things you need to fulfill in order to pull that off. If I go this way. All right. Torch me. Great. Got the torch. Yeah, I never remember what the deal is with the axe. And I probably should. I went through all that stuff before with the axe. But I'm just like a slave to other people's guidance now and have been told, no, really the torch is where you want to go. Well, look, you know, you don't necessarily need opposable thumbs or you know, anything more than a nubbly appendage to hit that trigger. I mean, I'm not talking like mouse-sized guns, you know. And surely, I'm going to raise this argument: if creatures without opposable thumbs were to produce a firearm that was appropriately sized and conditioned for that race, I'm sure they would take into account the lack of the thumb. It would be something like wrist-mounted, or you know, like a two-handed affair. You know, maybe something their hand fits into, or their paw in this instance. But then these would be, you know, man-sized, you know, a gun fit for a human-sized. I'm not going to say man-sized. We don't need to gender this. They could be female mice. And, you know, appropriate size of a mouse. You could wiggle into that trigger guard, and they could just set it off with some wild gyrations. I actually had a mouse in my house not too long ago. It does leave me worried that there are more mice that were better equipped to deal with the harshness of the modern world, because this mouse obviously had problems. He was just doing donuts around the house. I think it was probably hoping that I would eat it, carry its parasites away. So I was able to get it out pretty easily. I'm not ashamed to say it scared the holy hell out of me, though. But not because it was, you know, the mouse. I just saw something brown and furry clawing on me and thought, inexplicably for the climate, that there was a gigantic furry spider crawling on me. That's my assumption for pretty much anything unseen touching me, is probably an improbably large, hairy spider that in no way would survive in the climate I live in. But I'm also sure that they're there. I have looked into speedruns in this game. I watched exactly one speedrun of this game, and it made me vomit with despair and self-loathing. I don't think I could do a speedrun. I mean, I even if I'm not talking to people, I become so distracted that I would lose track of the fact that it was being timed. And just like get up and leave the room in the middle of it, like, I gotta go do something else now. And then I come back and I'm like, oh, 25 hours. Well, looks like I'm not beating the record on this one. Speedruns are fascinating, though. Speedruns like blow my mind to see the competitiveness in some of these games, and how long they'll sit on a record. You know, I've seen a lot of videos, very well put together videos, very dramatic. You know, and the record sat for 10 years and no one thought I could beat it. Record is sub 3 minutes. I don't think I could I don't think I could make it to the first cabin in 3 minutes. Yeah, I think the one I watched was like a 5-minute speed run. So just like of the speed run world to me. Anyway, that's what speedrunning is like to me. Speedrunning is like people who run in real life, who like their warm-up run is like, I couldn't run like that if my life depended on it. And that's just like, yeah, just do a quick warm-up, run around 15 miles every morning. Just get up, run 15 miles. You gotta run through. It's nothing, piece of cake. And then I go to my job running up vertical structures for a living. I don't see it. And speedrunning is like that. It looks really, really fun, really, really frustrating. But I do love the interplay of like chewing through stuff to kind of make it out of the house. I can't. I don't know why I thought I could. Love the interplay of like looking for like little glitches and stuff. I think my favorite one was the Wind Waker stuff. How there is like the invisible wall between the levels and how much time was spent trying to get through this invisible wall. And how no one thought it was possible. Do you know what I'm talking about? Yeah, I think the British accent. I can't remember his name. I wish I had it because I'd give the dude a plug. Probably doesn't need it, but I give him a plug because that's my jam right there. Anyone who can take something and throw it all together and throw like a really slick narrative around it and make it very dramatic. Because some of these records, like, they sit for years, you know, untouched. Chrissy. All right, so he was just at that camp. Yeah, when they sit for years untouched and then someone comes out and like, we never thought it would be beaten. And then like, and he shaved off 0.5 seconds. Wow. Mind blowing. Metroid was one. Metroid, the original Metroid. That's a crazy one to watch, like how long the records stand on that. And I'm not real like tightly into the speedrunning community, so I always wonder what the view on stuff is. I know just from like a generalized view, I think anyone can agree with when you look at stuff like people are caught out cheating speed runs and things like that, and how unfavorable that is. 'Cause that's just cheating in general. Of course, if you're going for a record and cheating, that's going to be unfavorable. No one's going to like that. But I know there's several categories of stuff, and I wonder if there's like a relative level of like respectability you have if you're going for like the any percent or 100% or glitchless or things like that. Because just so many speed runs, at least the ones that get pushed, the ones that come across my view, I'm not going to say the more interesting ones, the ones that are presented to me as the more interesting ones, which is usually generally means like this game, has this crazy quick speed run. Hit this level 1. Yeah, like the Souls games are nuts. And so like I wonder like the Souls games, because they have like the skips, and I wonder if those constitute, I don't know what constitutes a glitch in some of those instances. How is he even at that cabin? I don't know what constitutes glitches in that stuff, if like the level skips constitute glitches, or if they're just skips. Where does the line get drawn on that? I'm sure they have a pretty good definition on that stuff. I remember all the stuff with Mario Odyssey and how infuriating some of that stuff was, because people were using glitches and like different wall jumps you'd use for speedrunning. People would also use that stuff when they released the Luigi's Balloon game thing, the balloon game mode, which I thought was really fun. But people were using those glitches to get through the bridge and get behind walls and stuff, to hide balloons in places that would be impossible for most people to get through. And so they started patching it, and like the speedrun community was just losing their minds. Like, I can't believe Nintendo does this. Like, well, I don't know many, I think it's probably a somewhat rare developer that focuses that much on speedruns. I don't think they're against it, but I think that if there's a bug in the game, they're going to try and fix it. I view that regard where they look at like the glitches used to get through games quicker for speedruns in the same sense as like hacks people use to load custom firmware on consoles, and how they'll update the console to break compatibility with that hack, or like, hey, I did this jailbreak on my phone and then they released an update, now it breaks this. Well, yeah, I understand why they're doing that, and you shouldn't be mad they're doing it. It reminds me, not at all related to speedrunning, but thinking about like companies that release some kind of update or change something for a very legitimate reason, and people blow up about it and act like it's just unacceptable they've done it, and how silly that can seem. I spent a lot of time working on like some hobby electronic stuff, so I worked a lot with Arduinos, and the most expensive part in an Arduino chip is the chip that converts USB to the serial commands that operate with the chip. That's why those things cost like $30, because like $20 to $25 of that is this serial chip. And then people started seeing like, here's a $5 Arduino board that has that chip. Like, I wonder how they did it. Well, it was a counterfeit. FTDI is the company. It was a counterfeit FTDI chip. And like everybody kind of knew they were counterfeit, but they were fine with it because they got this $30 board for $5. And I never thought those things were particularly expensive, but maybe $30 to me just isn't that much, and that's everyone's gonna have their different level for that. Well, FTDI released drivers with Windows that would brick the counterfeit stuff. It would do like a firmware check, and it would brick those chips, and suddenly all these people's counterfeited products stopped working, and I can't believe the company did this. This should be illegal. How dare they release software that breaks things that have stolen from them? Well, of course they're going to try and do that. And why would you expect the counterfeit stuff to run forever? That's nonsense, but that's how people are. And so I view that in the same regard when game companies, game developers patch out stuff that people use for speed runs. Hey, that sucks, but it's a new challenge. They just put a new wall up. They raise the bar for you. You're going to have to find a new way to do it. And a lot of times they will. Just like, copy protection in the same sense. We got this new copy protection. Cool. I wrote on the CD with a Sharpie. Now it's dead. What now? Cool. The code that I used to break this can fit on the side of a pencil. What else do you got? Speedrunners should be the same way. Quit your complaining. Just get out there and find that new way to get through it. Get good, scrub, I believe is how the saying goes. I wouldn't know because I'm the scrub. I hear it a lot. I'm told that a lot. And I'm still terrible. I don't know what the point of that was. Just to say that I suck at games. At this game anyway. Maybe there's a game I can get at. I'm too busy talking to think. So I don't even see like this path on the map. This map is filled with lies, I suspect. You shouldn't even be here. Jason shouldn't be here. You never should have come here. And I can't wait to count out your gold. But I want to find him. He's probably going to go, I'm guessing. He was over here. And I'm guessing he's going to roll up this way, but he's probably just going to kick it back at the lake. He's probably just going to hang out at the lake. I'm just going to roll it out here for a little bit. I'm going to circle the lake with my torch and my precious antique vitamins and just see what happens. I would love to meet him in the streets because he goes down smooth when you meet him in the streets. It's not what I wanted. Maybe it was. I would just hang out in the lake and sit still. Well, I couldn't make that jump. They just hang out in the lake. Gotta watch these jumps. It's how they get you. Nope. They just keep throwing them at me. Come on. Come on and slam. And welcome to Japan. He's either running back to the caves, or I knew it. He's in the lake house. Jason loves the lake, and that was. I feel like I was robbed on that one. Oh. This feels like such overkill, but at the same time. I'm getting chewed up here. Oh, I got a hit on him. I heard it. I heard the hit. All right. Well, I got not much life. How did Jason turn the birds evil? There's no turning the birds evil. Birds just are evil. Well, that's not fair. They don't live by the same moral standards that humans do. Those particular birds were probably involved in some sort of college experiment. And they're very intelligent, you know, the black crows, ravens, crows, and the like. They're very intelligent animals, and they can recognize and remember people's faces. And they also are very adept at tool use, which is a terrifying concept. A bunch of birds figuring out how to use tools, and as they develop more advanced tools, it's not going to be bird poop on your window. It's going to be mortar shells and the like, you know, fabricated from nuts and twigs. So the damage will probably be minimal, but terrifying nonetheless. Maybe researchers have set up these devices that I kept hoping would become like a commercial product you could buy as some sort of money-making venture, and, you know, potentially ecological thing. How did the birds turn Jason evil? Well, they drowned him. I mean, it's, you know, if you look very closely at the stills from the first Friday the 13th we're explaining this movie, you can see several ducks straddling young Jason Voorhees' legs and dragging him down beneath the water. To what nefarious purpose, we could only guess. You know, the mind of a duck is a twisty maze, much like their reproductive system, full of traps. Hey, not gonna get me. You gotta be quicker than that. He was quicker than that. My vitamins. Oh, you got me. This is still the first day. I've completely lost track of everything that I've got going on in my life, world, which is, you know, it's a good thing. You know what? Debbie's right there. How you doing, Debbie? I mean, she's got the vitamin ball. She could probably make it. Yes, you know, the birds are probably goose turning a seagull. Yeah, man, geese are like geese, swans. Swans are mean. I don't know how they get a rep for being these like sweet, beautiful birds. They're mean, heinous creatures. We have some geese. I haven't seen them in a while, and I'm pretty sure somebody probably ate them, because that just seems really likely. But we used to have geese that would roam around the facilities at work, and sometimes you'd come up to an exit in a building and find a bunch of people standing there impatiently, and you'd go out, and they'd get your shoulder and like, no, it's the swans, because there'd be swans hanging outside the door waiting for someone to open it, because they want in the building. They want to be where the people are, probably to assault them in some capacity. And I am told that frequently people would open the door and the things would just bum rush like some kind of raptor, which, I mean, legit, it's probably where they came from, right? Evolutionary speaking. And they would just bum rush in the building, and then you have geese in the building. Nobody wants that. No one wants to clean up after that. The aftermath of that. Those geese get in there, they get in the vats, they get spreading stuff around, getting the IT closets. They're ripping out cables. They're putting keyloggers on your computers. They're stealing all your passwords. Next thing you know, your bank account balance is bottoming out, and it all traces back to some random shipments of whatever kind of food geese are all about getting shipped to a pond that somehow has a mailing address thanks to the US government. I don't know what they were thinking. Just put the birds in Congress already. Just get it over with. Stop pretending. Stop pretending that they're not the real power in this country. That's all I'm saying. You give them that much power, you just take it all the way. All right, so Debbie's not doing hot. Laura is slow, I think. She's got rocks. She's got a box of rocks. Just gonna sit here all day. If you kill, I want to say 50 or 100 zombies, you'll get a machete. So can I last long enough? I thought I was doing good until I failed to dodge Jason on those attacks, and that's disheartening. I'm gonna contend, and I hate to blame the controller, but I will blame the controller because I'm a big crybaby. I still contend that I need to get. I haven't yet found the perfect controller. I don't know if they make them anymore. I think the directional pad has fallen so far out of favor now that it's hard to find something that has real strict accuracy. Because this controller, in all other regards, is decent. But, maybe my fat thumb is just resting too high on it. Because I swear, like, every time I walk by a path, I'm going in there. I walk by a house, I'm going up there. I'm not hitting up and left and right. Maybe I'm hitting left and right too high up on it. Oh, it's robbed. Once you allow the members of the animal kingdom a measure of fine, I want to just, these birds they're juking me. Once you allow them any sort of financial ability, you're just asking for trouble, because their purposes are mysterious but almost certainly nefarious. There's no way your average goose, swan, or duck wants that money for something that is not going to end in some destruction, harm, or death. They get some bread. It's because they're going to poison that bread and feed it to children. Machete. It's a machete, and you're hurling it. Where is he? Is he in the lake? He's not in the lake. Maybe I get to a little cabin. Oh, there's Debbie. Poor sad Debbie. We're not here to talk to you today. We're here for Mark, who is probably getting punched to death. It's funny you mentioned that now, because I am using an 8-bit Do. I'm assuming it's pronounced 8-bit Do, like Nintendo. 8-bit Do gamepad. This is the SN30 Pro. They got a couple different models, and I swear they all have the exact same thing. And I'm really happy with it. Yeah, it's just the D-pad is just a little bit off. Otherwise, it's great. The Bluetooth works great. This can also work with the Switch. This is not a sponsored stream, so I guess don't buy anything from them until they give me a sponsorship, and then I can give you a coupon code, which makes me money and saves you money. That's never going to happen, so if you want to buy it, just go buy it. I have another one that I was using previously that I had it for so long without using it that I honestly forgot what its actual functions were and whether or not it had Bluetooth. In fact, it's only now that I pick it up to look at it that I remember this other one that I bought, which is the SF30, which is retro styled after the Japanese Super Famicom system. It's pretty nice. I like it. I found the same thing with it, though. The D-pad on it was We get some misclicks, which is common with these. What do they call that? A hat switch? The hat switch. I want to say the original controllers had this too, so I don't know how I didn't have these issues before. But I've never been too adept at that, honestly. Like Street Fighter, I could hardly pull off a lot of the moves that required that, so I think maybe it is just me, but I really feel like some of these switches are a little bit out there. Yeah. See, I didn't end up getting the actual NES formatted ones because at this point I'm not so tied to the cool retroness of it that I want those hard edges of the rectangle to slap into me. I mean, they're otherwise really solid, and in most games you're not going to have a problem. Some of it just comes down to fatigue. But yeah, this one, I was using my computer for a while and I kept looking at it thinking like, why isn't this work Bluetooth? Why isn't this wireless? It sat for so long that I completely forgot what I actually bought this other one for was specifically to work with the S, what am I gonna call it? The SNES Mini, SNES Classic. It's the SNES Mini, I think. They're mini retro console Nintendo put out for the Super Nintendo. And so they made one that specifically works with that. It comes with an adapter that plugs into that, but you can also plug the USB cable into your computer and use it as a wired control, and it worked pretty well for that. I just switched over to this one because it was wireless, but it was so funny. I'm like confused, like, why doesn't this work Bluetooth? Why doesn't this work wirelessly? Because it's not Bluetooth. It's just made to work with that system that I bought, set up, loaded a bunch of games on it, which, you know, the SNES, the NES Classic, the NES Mini, whatever it's actually called, you could put you could fit every NES game that was ever made and most of the other NES games that weren't actually made onto that NES Classic with the hacked firmware, which was really cool, but also weird because I don't really think Mortal Kombat 3 actually came out for the Nintendo Entertainment System. But you can play it on there. But you can also play games like Sweet Home with a fan translation, which is really cool. Super Nintendo wasn't that good. It was not that good. Super Nintendo wasn't equal. The Super Nintendo Classic, you could not. You could not load every Super Nintendo game on there. It had some real size limits by virtue of the larger catalog of Super Nintendo and the larger size of the files. So I had to make some tough choices there. And then I did all that and just promptly like never found time to play it. So I have both of those set up and it was like, cool. This is really cool. My test is cool. I play Chrono Trigger for like 5 minutes. I have to go to work now. And then it just sits. That's sad. That's the rub, man. When you get in a position where like, oh, hello. Hey. Just chewed through me like nothing. Like hot butter. MK3 did come out in NES. Well, they kept making NES games without license. The whole licensing thing for the early Nintendo days was really weird. Sega too. I watched a video about how EA broke Sega's licensing by reverse engineering the Genesis. And talking about the yellow tabbed cartridges, which didn't serve any function. It was just like purely visual. I don't think it had any legit purpose, but that was very interesting. Yeah, it was a real shame. You know, if you can find the NES Classic, the SNES Classic. I think Nick bought me the NES Classic, which I greatly appreciate. And I'm sorry to say that I haven't used it as much as I would like to. And the SNES Classic, a former coworker called me up out of the blue because they'd driven to Best Buy on their lunch break because they saw that they had some and they picked one up for me. Well, they were really cool units. The emulation is like really tight on them. At least the games that I played, I thought it worked really, really well. And being able to load more games on was really cool. But yeah, isn't just like the nature of things today, like the scalpers, man. Video cards, these consoles, the TurboGrafx, I was really interested in, could never find it. And I just refused to pay for that, or refused to pay extra for any of that stuff. Give me retail. Give me less than retail. I'm not gonna go out there for it. Oh no, is George intensely slow? He's got a good throwing arm. Good solid arm on that boy, Georgie. Not the most athletic of sorts, but he can hurl a rock. That's what they put him in jail for. Now he's on work release. We sent him to the lake. It's our program of sending ex-convicts to kill zombies. Which makes a whole lot of sense if you think about it, and is something that we would most assuredly do. But yeah, I'm shocked that MK3 actually did come out for the NES. I have seen other stuff on the NES that was like a weird unlicensed release, and I think we've all seen stuff like the weird Titanic side-scrolling beat-em-up game, which honestly looked fun and cool, and I enjoyed the enemies on it. I thought it looked like a really interesting find, if a goofy licensing setup. But I remember seeing Super Mario World, and it just looked weird and off, because when you're packing, the higher res graphics onto a smaller system. But it is something to be said for, up the programming feat of cramming that stuff in. I wish that modern game developers would look at that stuff. When you see like the update sizes for like a Modern Warfare, and seeing how power hungry games are. I mean, that's in the PC game world. It's been the case forever that optimization is not important. Yeah, to me, for the retail price of those items in S Classic, it was worth it, even just as a curiosity or something to have on the shelf. And if you have time, you can pull it out. You have some friends over, you bust out the controllers and play it. Like, it's a lot of fun. It's real cool. Not $400 cool. Because at that point, you can do what most people that I knew that looked at that said, you could just make it yourself with a Raspberry Pi. And yes, you can do that, and that can be a neat, fun project. But shut up, nerd. I am also the nerd, but legit, like, you could say that for practically any product. Like, why you want to buy an iPod? You could just make a Raspberry Pi out of it. Like, some people don't want to make something. They just want to have something that works. Retro Pies are cool, though. Like, the amount of stuff if he's back in that. Okay, I was gonna say, if he went back in that cabin, I can't threaten him with anything. Oh, this is from bad to worse. This is the place. Well, it's a choice between me and Debbie. Do I fight Jason? Do I get punched to death by Jason here? Or do I send Debbie out to the street to die? I honestly really want to just send Debbie out to the street to die. I'd like to say I don't have anything against Debbie. I do. I actually have a lot against Debbie. There's some history there that I want to get into. I didn't want to bring it up in the stream. It gets a little bit ugly, but I do just want to send Debbie out to die. But I also know that that's just going to end things. But it's kind of like, it's like if you're in a horrific accident, right? And like your hand is just hanging on by a thread. Like, I get caught in something, racing on a motorcycle, and you hit a stop sign, try to give it a high five, and now your hand's torn off, and it's held on by a little strip of flesh and maybe some veins or musculature, but it's so little. And even though you should leave it in place because it's probably a good chance they could reattach it and minimize the damage, you're just staring at it thinking like, a stiff breeze could knock this over, and so I kind of want to see what is going to happen if I could like just pick at it. And you shouldn't, but you can't resist it. Just pick a little bit. Next thing you know, you got a hook. They make some really cool hooks these days. I'm telling you, RGB LEDs in them. You know, overclock that stuff. You can mine Bitcoin on that hook, probably. And maybe not Bitcoin at this point. Maybe some Ethereum, Dogecoin. Maybe you can get some Stanley dollars mining on that. I bet that someone can make it happen. And then what a cool James Bond, modern day James Bond villain, ridiculous level would that be if you had a prosthetic attachment that lit up and shined and just like blasted music out of it and was also mining cryptocurrency that was somehow for the movie version also causing blood poisoning. Yeah. It just writes itself, man. You put that hook on and your blood starts turning. What would be the color of that? Probably green. Green. That seems like a cool, like, I'm with it, I'm hip. I like Monster Energy drinks. And I'm totally into cryptocurrency. And that seems like that would hit that target demographic. And it just like shock them awake. Because they're not going to listen to, you know, environmental impacts or things. They're out there buying up power plants to mine for cryptocurrencies. But if you made a movie that showed that, like, hey, you know, it could cause a terrible disease and you'll slowly die from blood poisoning as your veins turn green. No, they would probably want that because it would look cool. They would just YOLO that. Damn it. I'm just making it more attractive for them. All right. Well, that ends that debate. Debbie can live for now. Oh, God. It's so improbably large. It's like that scene in The Faculty where they tear the blade off a paper cutter. It just doesn't resemble a knife. Oh, I messed that all up. I just grounded the hamburger down there. And then it just keeps chopping. Like, why you gotta keep chopping, Jason? I mean, it's, you know, she's right there. Paul is too. I can't throw Paul out there. And you know what they'll say about me. They'll say terrible things about me. I mean, which is worse? They're both bad. I either hate this dude or I hate this woman, and neither one of those, like, there's not a worse end of that. I'll split the difference. Oh yeah, she's got a machete. She's not bad. Where are you at? Can I make it? Yeah, jump's okay. She's booking it. Feel better if I had some delicious vitamin water. Oh, 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 oh! This isn't the house, is it? No, it's the next house. Is it? Or did I go wrong? No, it is the next house. All right, I got the vitamin water. I got a machete. I'm liking my odds, which means I'm gonna lose. All right, that's the lake entrance. Hey, yep. What is that nonsense? Thank you. Debbie, don't thank me. Don't thank me. You know, if you didn't know this, that Jason will actually beat these people to death when they start losing health, the longer it takes you to get there. So if I had just let that go, Debbie would be a goner. So really, I saved Debbie. And also by making her leave the house right now, I could further save her life. I could extend it out by 5 frames. Which in video game terms is a lot, I think. You know, I had a good feeling about this one, which is why it didn't go so great. I mean, in fairness, you know, I make it pretty clear in all advertisement for this that I am not going to beat this game or even come close. But it's been great fun for me. I hope the people watching have enjoyed it. Because you don't come to my channel for awesome gameplay content and skills. Because you can just get that anywhere. And I shouldn't tell you that, because now you're gonna go somewhere else. Oh God. Don't leave. I was on the fence this whole past I guess we could call the year, probably hasn't legit been a year, but this whole time frame between the last Friday the 13th and just this Friday the 13th as to whether or not I should refine my gameplay on this and practice this and memorize what's going on with things. And I just rested on, no, I shouldn't. It's better if I come at this fresh and ignorant and terrible every time. I remember last time I said, cursing myself at the start, I don't know what I'm going to do if I just beat this really quickly. And that's hilarious because that's never going to happen. But I still say that. I don't know what I would do if I pumped the proverbial iron, right, on this game and just ground it and mastered it in the span between now and next May, and got really good at it so I could come back and watch this and just ground through it in 10 minutes. I'm not going to go for 3 minutes. That's too much. 10 minutes is still a fantasy, but I can dream about. And then what? I'll just play it again. I guess I would have to move on to a newer, more modern game. And then maybe that's what I'll do. Maybe I'll buck the tradition on this. And maybe this is the thing. What is the Vitamin Water doing? I thought about this last time and then promptly forgot about it until now. That I was going to look this up because I'm extremely curious why, the potions in video games, it's this red fluid. It's got to be blood related, right? It's got to be something like blood, like you're drinking blood. You're getting wholesome blood, right? Adrenochrome or so on. Maybe that's too controversial. I'm just saying, in video game terms, not in real life. Doesn't work in real life. Not that I know. I haven't tried it. But it's got to be somewhat blood related. But because it's always here's this red potion. I mean, what else are they making that's red? Is it cranberry juice? Yeah. A speed run stream is exciting if you've been following the person, doing practices. If you've got this person is announced, I'm working on this. I'm committing myself to speedrunning this game. And you watch, as you can, and you watch them practice new stuff and develop new strats and get going. And then when they finally achieve that, you have that whole journey you've gone on, oh man, I watched this guy practice and he was so pumped and I really got invested in this. And I think if someone just comes out the gate and just watch me do this, and they just do it in one take and that's it and there's no build up. But I don't see myself doing consistent weekly streams of I'm practicing Friday the 13th. I couldn't see myself consistently doing anything as much as I would like to practice any speedrun on something. I think I just don't have the mental fortitude to commit to that with everything else. But maybe I will play this a little bit between now and May so they can be somewhat better. I should at least memorize some of the past stuff down a little bit more. I think that would ease me. Spend more time focusing on that. It does seem to work for vampires. Blood does seem to work for vampires. There's something to that. But does that mean that all the protagonists who are gaining healthy benefits from these red potions in video games are in fact some sort of day-walking vampire? Is that the lesson? In the alternate universe in which video games take place, that if modern Japanese animation has taught me anything, we're all one misstep and a freight truck away from being sent to these worlds, right? Is it that every native being in that world is what we would call a vampire, right? But in their world, it's normal, and you're the weird one. Some I Am Legend stuff going on there. It's probably crack. Honestly, the red potions, it's probably crack. You know how like in Breaking Bad, like he made it blue and that was like his trademark. And they probably got some like cranberries or some other berry, potent hallucinogenic berry that grows around the forest. And they're crushing it up and mixing it in with crack or, you know, cough syrup. You know, that's all another strong possibility. Old family recipe. You got some mason jars filled with some drippy red goo. It's entirely possible. I wouldn't put it past them, you know. They're drawing on some of that hillbilly Jason in part 2. And they're just scattered about. I mean, in classic video game fashion. You know, here's a full roast chicken inside the wall of this ancient, evil, zombie-infested castle. Let's all take a nibble and see our health improve. How could you not assume that you're not becoming some sort of supernatural menace at that point? How are the Belmonts not themselves all undead creatures with the amount of rotting meat they consume to restore their health? That's some like special kind of zombie or vampire. I bet there is somewhere in the world that there is a supernatural, like mythological creature or superstition of someone who, you know, lives in some cursed half-living state by violently consuming garbage. And I say violently because it's no fun if they're just like, you know, like a raccoon, like I just got in your trash can and ate it. No, but I mean, like they're killing to produce garbage to then eat. I'm not super up on that stuff. I know some of the weird ones. Like here we go again. I think there's like the vampire that's do I need that? It's there. Might as well grab that key. I think it's the type of vampire that like knocks itself inside out. That's pretty wild. Just a head and a sack of organs flying around. That's formidable in its own sense. Oh. I hear you. Ah! You got me. And there's nothing else in this game like shocks me or frightens me or perturbs me. But when Jason gets me on that lake, every time, because it's totally unavoidable. There's no way around it, which is the same when you catch him in the road. He throws stuff at you and you can't, as far as I know, really dodge it. Oh! Let me just skip straight to the death there. I mean, it's got to be Paul. Look, they're neighbors. They're neighbors. Paul, do you have anything? Paul doesn't have anything. Is he back in the lake house? Is he in the lake house again? He's still in the lake house, I guess. He didn't go anywhere. And Paul is just so miserably slow. I can't help but feel that was somewhat racially motivated, given this was developed in Japan and at that time and possibly still today. There's some issues there, I'm told. There's issues everywhere, but maybe I'm reading too much into it. Maybe I'm the monster here. I probably am, maybe for different reasons. Oh. Row your boat. There's just so many of them. How did I do that? How did I go completely the wrong way? Oh, wow. That's a new one on me. Jason wiped out the kids. Wow, not a new one. A new one today. Game 2. Well. Yeah. Officially they're vitamins, right? because they can't have a Nintendo. Not in Ronald Reagan's America. They can't have a child's game about a murderous psychopath be advocating for drug usage. I am surprised there's not a Dare splash screen somewhere in this game. So certainly they have to advertise it as much, but I'm willing to bet if you dug deep enough, you'd find out it's some sort of country folklore equivalent of, of crack cocaine. It's kind of like a Mountain Dew. Supposedly Mountain Dew was made as a mixer for moonshine by the bootleggers, is what I'm told. Supposedly. I don't know. It's true. I haven't looked into it that deeply. I'm not willing to commit that much of my life to studying Mountain Dew. But this is probably something like that. This is it's Code Red. But the original recipe, Code Red, that had potent healing abilities, and also massively addictive. I mean, that's probably where the zombies came from. I feel like I've been down this road before. But those people are just like red potion junkies. All those zombies are just the people who were repeatedly injured and recovered themselves with red potion until they became dependent. Kind of like how chapstick, right? If you use chapstick too much, gradually you will diminish your own body's ability to moisten your own lip flesh. I don't know a better way to put that. Your lip meats, right? Because your body naturally will produce, I guess it would be oils, fluids that keep your face meats nice and rugged and supple and smooth and uncracked and blemished as you desire. I guess. I don't know. My face is a horrid wasteland of rendered meat, but the average person probably wants that. So you get some chapstick and throw it on there. But over time, your body's like, well, I guess I don't need to work so hard. I'm assuming. I don't really know the mechanics of it. That's just what makes sense to me. But eventually, you'll become dependent on it because your body will just like give up and be like, I'm not touching that. Use your magic stick. You think you're better than me? You think you're better than me? Lip flesh should make you uncomfortable. I think if that wasn't true, there would be more cause for concern. I struggled with that one and it escaped. Try to keep the prison of words a little locked down more, but you're working your face meats there and eventually get well, this is the same concept, right? You keep taking this red potion instead of relying on your body's natural amazing ability to heal, right? The human body is amazing in its ability to heal, except for all the things it doesn't heal properly, or all the things it decides to attack. Looking at you, autoimmune diseases, if it just all of a sudden is like, you know what? To hell with your liver. I'm gonna wreck it. I don't know what it is anymore. What's this foreign thing? Transplant, not on my watch. You're dead. And I'll kill myself to get there, because it's essentially what it's doing, It's a security system that is just a self-destruct mechanism. But, you become dependent on this red potion to heal every scrape and scrap and wound. And, over time, your body just becomes like one large, crusty, yellowed scab. And naturally, you just hunger for more of that potion because it's the only thing that even comes close to diminishing the horror and pain and agony of your existence. And I think there's something, there's something meaningful in this game to be had with it. A meaningful discussion about not drinking Mountain Dew Code Red specifically. It's named after a computer virus. They said they named the computer virus after the Code Red. That's not true. Code Red is the virus. Now, Dr. Pepper. Oh, that's a man's drink. I'm told by men. I wouldn't know. What are we doing here? What strategies have we tried? Is it even worth discussing at this point? I'm just gonna get so derailed that I will forget what I've done or got. I mean, that's a common aspect of my life. I just forget what I've done. In some ways, it's a blessing. So, Mark's pretty good. Mark's pretty top tier. They get Marky Mark and his funky fresh hairdo or crooked head. I don't know these faces. They're mocking me. Like, Paul looks like a cool guy. He's got a nice haircut. He's got a nice bright smile. He's got a bright future. He's just one of those guys, you know? Nothing ever gets him down, that Paul. He's fine that he got knocked off the track and field team. He's fine with it. He'll just roll with it and just laughs it off. He's a good, all-around good guy. That's why he dies first. So, you know, good people go first. But now you got Mark here. I don't know what his deal is. I mean, he's obviously got a very athletic build, a runner's build. He's very thin, very aerodynamic chin there. He's got some dental problems. It looks like many of his teeth are missing. That's all I can see from the tiny mouth there. George, though, whoa, man. Ooh, George looks like a can of Campbell soup someone drew a face on. I'm just saying. Chrissy is napping or possibly dead. One of those like hopping vampires. It's Chrissy was pretty new. Debbie, little Debbie, she's a snack. I had to do it. Laura, I don't know what to say about her. Is that her hair? Is that a hood? Is she being enveloped by an ochre jelly? Is this a crossover event? Is this Japanese game developers once again ripping off monsters from Dungeons and Dragons and then warping them until they become more recognizable as Final Fantasy villains? Potentially. The more I look at it, the more it just looks like a giant yellow malformed cat swallowing somebody. Or, hello, Jeremy. Welcome. Strategy is overrated. It is the cat beast from that movie. I want to say it's The Hidden, but it's not The Hidden. It's not The Hidden. Because The Hidden is the one with what's his face, Kyle MacLachlan, and some aliens. I think there's a sequel on that. I just looked up and my eyes zeroed in on the phrase in describing the plot of this movie, The Hidden from 1987. Zeroed in on orally exchanged alien life form, and my brain cannot recognize anything else going on in there. Well, it's not The Hidden. Yes, this is what you showed up for me to Google random cats, random films based on nothing. 80s hair. 80s hair itself is like a monster. It's not as big. It's definitely not going to make the cut for the Universal Studios, Universal Motion Pictures Dark Universe, if they ever decide to take that back off the ground. But they threw it on under Tom Cruise's stubby feet. If they decide to bring it back, it's not going to be as big as The Mummy. A Creature from Black Lagoon. A lot of people don't remember the classic 80s hair. I mean, they didn't even give it a name in the movie. I don't think they ever called it by name outside of the title. But it was just everywhere. Like a disease. Is it The Uninvited? Is that the movie I'm thinking of? Have you all forgotten what I was even talking about? I sure did. The Uninvited. Which starred Glenn Beck And Tony Hudson. It's a 1987 movie. Which, ironically, I was close because The Hidden was also 1987. Have you seen The Hidden? Passengers and crew are terrorized by a mutant cat. You should look it up because it's quite a feat. There's a horrible cat that kind of vomits up an angry face or turns itself inside out. I forget exactly which. Yeah, but that's what I'm seeing when I look at Laura. I see a cat vomiting up a semblance of a human face to lure into you a false sense of security. That's just my own interpretation. I could be wrong. So I don't be Laura Paul or George. Poor George. Georgie Porgy. Debbie, sorry if you forgot. I'll forget. I've already forgotten. I've forgotten what we're forgetting. I could run with Chrissy. Why not? I never do anything with the fireplaces. It gets you something. Flashlight. Gets you the flashlight, I want to say. There's that lighter. Woo! There's a knife. Woo! I'm making great strides here. I'm going the wrong way though. And I muted the game so I can't hear if someone is already being murdered, and they are. And who's there? Oh, let's Laura. We'll speak of the devil. It's the human cat hybrid. I mean, it could be hair flowing, feathered and curled over her. I'm honestly somewhat surly looking face, and I don't know if that is. I don't know, but that's what it looks like. She looks very stern and angry. But it's probably the agony of being devoured from behind by this thing. No, I just can't. I mean, if you squint your eyes just right, like her eyebrows become like the bottom defining edge of like a chicken beak. Which takes us back to Night of the Blood Beast. Go check it out. Well, she'll be the first to die. I guarantee it. Or I could just leave. That's what I'll do. I'll leave. And then I'll throw rocks at him. Because that's sensible. Wait. Am I going the right way? Am I? Because that will... That's not... He goes this way. Right. That's how they get you. Wait, is there a knife around here? Red potion. There's a knife. If I keep following around, I'll possibly get a knife. Lighter. I don't know why I need. I'm hot on this trail, but I may have miscalculated. It may not actually be. Well, he wouldn't just be in the house. There's that knife. Give me the knife. So I could make if I get a key, I could make a run for it with her. Just because I happen to be over here. I'm at least going to try and get a potion out of this. And then there's a key. Where are you at? At the cabin. Man, he just folds time and space. Luxury owned by a criminal multimillionaire bound from the Cayman Islands. Yeah. That's what I love about that movie. You know, is that the underlying plot is criminals going to the Cayman Islands. Yeah. Yes. So there's a cat, and then it turns into a terrible puppet cat with another cat inside the cat. The effect is phenomenal. And just watching people be terrorized by this cat. It is the size of a house cat, you know. I mean, I like critters, I'd buy it, right? Because those things were like super space porcupines. They'll mess you up. But like a normal house cat that becomes like a hairless house cat and is supposed to be terrifying, I don't get it. They ham it up good. They play it good, and it's all on a boat. It's on a boat. How can I get? How can I get back over there? This way. I was hoping for some sweet vitamins. Is W the closest? W, you gotta work a miracle for me. Get out of the house. Oh God, she's so slow. W, you're too slow. This is why nobody likes you, W. Those kids are gonna die because you wouldn't get out and do your exercises. I mean, maybe she pulled a hamstring. It's a key that won't help me with those kids. These kids is dying. How many children died because I went back to get that key? And that's the question. If I just leave, it's not going to be fine if I just leave. It's not enough. Oh, God. Hope. Hope. Take some balled up aluminum foil. Oh. Ha. Yes. Oh. No. Oh. Oh. Get you. This is back. This is in the early stages when you actually win these fights. Give me your money. Can I take? I can't. I can't take. Kids today, they got a lot of money, right? Don't tell me I'm wrong. These kids are at this ritzy camp, and this is like some kind of Flowers in the Attic, Hunger Games kind of setup where they were sent here by their parents specifically to die. They gotta have some bucks, and they should be paying me because I'm getting literally murdered here to babysit them. Come on, give me something good. Oh, that's too close. You're too close. Where my knives at? There's a knife on the way. I could get it. I could get that knife. Wouldn't you like to be my knife? I just gotta kill enough zombies. There we go. Knives on command. There's knives everywhere. I mean, you don't want to pick them all up because they could have potentially been used in the commitment of a violent crime, and then you have your fingerprints and DNA evidence on it. But if you need a knife, there's probably a knife everywhere. I got like 5 knives right here. There's this guy with his windshield wiper. Come to wipe away the stain of my existence from the windshield of his life. Unlife? Do you remember at what stage the films this would take place in? If he had a 4K remaster. The Uninvited had a 4K remaster. That says something, and I don't know if it's something good. I don't want to slam on this movie too much. It's been a while since I saw it. It was pretty wild time, and I do recommend watching it. But I'll tell you, there's not many movies I wouldn't recommend watching. Almost everything has some value. to be had with it. But it's worth seeing for like the weird puppet, and the actors are not terrible. There's some pretty good actors on it. The criminal subplot is pretty entertaining, and they just throw the cat in there, which just makes it very weird. It's like if you threw a werewolf into The Untouchables, just randomly, but then the rest of the movie continued as though there wasn't a werewolf. That's my recollection of it. That may be off, but I think you're right. I think you are just shaking them loose. Well, it lines up. I'll come back to that. Come back to the zombie knife bit. The 4K remaster, like everything gets released as a 4K remaster, and I really feel like this is back the same thing when DVDs were coming out, right? And you had like people just churning out DVDs of movies that you look at and go, do I really need to own this on DVD? Does anyone? But you probably bought it anyway because you have a collection. You want all the movies. I feel like the 4K remaster at this point has to be either so cheap or so easy to pull off because they're just remastering and releasing like everything in 4K. A lot of it I don't think is that great. I think 4K remaster is such a generic term, and I've seen plenty of things that were quote unquote remastered in 4K where they didn't really do much work. Maybe I'm expecting too much from a remaster, that it literally is just like we took the film that has a higher resolution than 4K and we took new pictures of it that are 4K instead of 1080 or VHS or whatever. We didn't do anything else though. Because when I think of like a 4K remaster, I think of like Lawrence of Arabia, where like went through and like, carefully cleaned up the film and did a bunch of restoration work, and maybe that's a bigger thing than remaster would have. But yeah, I think a lot of times stuff gets put out in 4K and it's just a cash grab, and especially if it's like some kind of obscure or weird movie that's like hot instant sales because everyone is looking out for that. I'm all for that, honestly. The weirder the better. But still, just it loses like any kind of meaning if everything gets it. Yeah, so knives falling out of zombies totally fits if they're all former red potion addicts and their bodies have now they've developed these thick scabby outer layers of skin where they've grown too much. If they don't even take the knife out, because really you're not supposed to take the knife out, right? So they don't even take the knife out, they just heal over it. And so if you whack on them, like all kinds of stuff's gonna come out. License plates, pocket change, red potion. I want to say that I actually read something with those in. I think it was a Pathfinder, the role-playing game, Pathfinder, in the campaign setting. I think there was an area of the world that was had like a wrecked spaceship buried under the desert that was mostly populated by barbarians, and then I think there was some stuff there. Yes, I don't remember the name of it, but I do remember this is where it came from. There was like a gel that people found that was some like space engine fluid that had a healing property, but it would like turn your skin into like scabinous goo, and so you could tell who was using it too much because it was addictive. So I, not consciously, have just stolen this entire theory from a like 2-sentence blurb from a Pathfinder role-playing module for a game I ran like 4 or 5 years ago. So I'm gonna get sued now. I don't know if a DMCA takedown notice can apply for me verbally ripping off a role-playing game, but you can all contribute to my legal fund by hitting that subscribe button. Excuse me. Yeah, I don't think... A little dry throat there. I don't think like the 4K Like if you're just doing a straight transfer, like that's one thing. If it was just like a transfer, I can live with whatever I get from that. Film wise, animation is a little bit different, and there's a lot of variables there. But like film stuff, like a new transfer can't be that big of a deal. You know, they did the 4K transfer. I don't know what if any cleanup work they did, but they did a new 4K transfer of Phantasm, which movie I absolutely adore. J.J. Abrams worked on that as like a side thing while he was shooting The Force Awakens, because he's a big fan. He's like, I've got access to it, I might as well. That's probably why those movies had a lot of problems. Maybe it was focused a little too much on that, but probably not. You know, I'm sure it's, you know, it's amazing like that stuff. Everything just gets cheaper and easier over time, usually because they're paying people less and less, automating more and more, and have less people involved. But yeah, you're filming, running the film through and photographing it. It's got to be pretty cheap. I imagine the transfers on that stuff, like the biggest trouble with it is probably like you have more of a headache with securing rights and things than you would with actually doing like the actual work. I think that's where a lot of media sits today, is that there's some conglomerate that has a bunch of distribution rights, and just doling them out one by one. A coworker was telling me about some studio that released this movie, and like people were blowing them up on Twitter about making a 4K release of this movie or DVD release of like a really terrible movie, and their defense was like it came in a package deal. Like they just bought like a bunch of movies from some company, and that was just part of it. Like you just get a grab bag of film licenses and hope that, you know, much in the same way one might hunt down the original plastic rust monster that inspired the classic Dungeons and Dragons creature, and a sack of random plastic dinosaurs, which is a real crapshoot, but can still happen this day and age. You just grab a random jumble of films and hope that there's something good in there. Yes, Expedition to Barrier Peak. Peaks was a really good one. There's some stuff that the Temple of the Frog was another one. Temple of the Frog and some stuff around that, or D&D modules that had that. I don't know if that got pulled from something else, some other genre thing at the time, but like the older D&D definitely had a thing for like, hey, there's these advanced crash spaceships buried somewhere. Dogma will never see Blu-ray release. It's a Harvey Weinstein movie. I'd buy it. I mean, people throw shade at Disney. This may be like incredibly dated because I don't know where they sit with any of this stuff now, especially with Disney Plus. But Disney had this thing that like, you know, oh, this is your last chance to buy Cinderella because we're putting it back in the vault, and you won't be able to get it again. And then they'd release it again several years later. But they just talk about this stuff like, we're putting it in the vault because we don't want people to lose interest in it. You got to maintain some kind of scarcity, right? And like a lot of movies are like that they're like, meh, you know, you would think like you'll make more money off of this if you just put it out there for people to buy than you would if you just sat on it. But I think it's less, you know, there's a lot of logistics involved with that if you're probably waiting for some other contract to expire a way to get out of it. Yeah, the vault, the Disney vault, people talked about that a lot with Disney Plus. Like, does this mean the vault's coming back? Is it just like everything gonna be in the vault? Gotta get it all in Disney Plus, which I'm like 50-50 on. Like, I want more stuff on streaming, but streaming is also such a unreliable. Holy crap! The guy ain't messing around. Where does he go from here? I'll chase him. I'll die, but I'll chase him. What's to the lake house? See, I'm looking at this map, and it doesn't. This whole area from like here to here, there's no arrow coverage on this map that I pulled up. So I have no idea how he interacts with this whole angle here, this whole little boot. The Disney Vault was ridiculous. The streaming stuff, like, I love the idea of having things streaming, but the reality of it is that stuff disappears all the time. Stuff gets altered all the time. You get weird battles over rights or how much money. Scarlett Johansson suing Disney because they streamed Black Widow, and that's entirely a money thing because her contract probably didn't have anything about money from streaming. And how do you quantify that? Yeah, artificial scarcity. Exactly. And streaming was bad enough when you looked at like Netflix, and Netflix had a lot of great stuff, and then next week it would be gone. You know, they had a lot of stuff queued up, and then all of a sudden it just vanishes because they didn't want to pay more or couldn't pay more, or they're asking too much, or the company just took it back and decided we're going to start our own streaming platform, and they did, and it sucked, and they sold it to somebody else again. But Disney Plus introduced some stuff that I am sure was seen on other platforms beforehand. I just don't have a recollection of it. Of like altering some scenes. Simpsons in particular is some stuff that I remember seeing. They get cut, or when they originally put it out, they were like, it wasn't the original format. They were cropping it to fit widescreen, which is, you know, if you have like old 4:3 formatted stuff, the only way you make it widescreen is you're chopping off the top and bottom of it, which can cause you to miss out on some stuff. And just from like a sort of accuracy and digital archival sort of sense, is generally not a great idea to me. Let's see where the items are on here. Potion, come on up on a knife. Good enough. You know, I find distasteful. You know, maybe I'm expecting too much or getting too, you know, whiny about it. Like, I don't want anything to be different. But there's a certain, like, it allows a certain revisionist history to things if you can just clip stuff out or pretend things didn't happen. You know, I liked whoever was behind like Tom and Jerry or cartoons like that would run disclaimers before stuff that contained things that in the modern context would be considered like, hey, this is really like unacceptable. This is kind of a racist portrayal. And they'd put it in there, and they'd put a disclaimer on it saying like, look, it was a different time. Like, we're not trying to make excuses, but we feel like trying to pretend this didn't happen is the wrong way to go about this. And we shouldn't hide this stuff. You know, we're not saying you should be happy about it, but this stuff was real, and we're not going to pretend it's not. And I have a tremendous amount of respect for that. A lot more than, hey, let's just cut this stuff out and then pretend it never happened. And then when people look back and say like, no, the world was never racist and nobody ever did anything like that. Yeah, exactly. Mal points out that is the Simpson joke where all the beer comes from the same pipe because of where it fit on the screen. It got chopped off. I mean, it bothered me when Simpsons ran in syndication, and they had a lot of like stinger jokes that would come right before a commercial break. And there was a lot of funny stuff there that would get clipped out, or they would cut something a certain way, like it would just cut one line and would change the context of something. But that's the sort of thing that you'd think back then, like, well, I'm going to own this on VHS if you go back far enough, or I'm going to own this on a DVD, and then I'll have all this stuff. And now it seems like, hey, you got that machete. Now a lot of companies are like, we're just going to put it out, we're doing it for streaming. I imagine there's got to be something going on with streaming too, because when you're releasing these movies, like a lot of people that are involved in that movie have stuff in their contract. You know, writers, probably not effects companies because they're always getting burned. You know, actors, actresses, all the talent involved in the movie will have stuff in their contracts that like we get X percentage of these sales. And so then it makes sense that people aren't in a rush to put these DVDs out because they're putting a lot of work and financial backing into making money for other people who, you know, this isn't my stance. This is rather their stance. They've already done the work and we're paid for it. And why should I do something that's just going to keep profiting them? Which then makes me wonder if there's like a time limit on that stuff. That's like, you know, oh, we passed the statute of limitations. I don't have to pay you anymore, kind of thing. But I don't know how streaming fits in any of that. And that the case with Scarlett Johansson against Disney will be real interesting because, you know, her argument is that by putting it on streaming, it diminished the ticket sales, which I'm like, given the current environment, what do you expect for ticket sales? That's kind of a silly viewpoint to me. Whoa. But I totally get where she's coming from because Hollywood loves to screw people out of money. So I can totally understand if there's something going on there that's like, hey, we didn't discuss this at all. How am I getting paid for this? You know, whoa. Oh man. Got him just before he got me. Man, he's really aggressive this run through. This is the thing. Yes, music rights. Music rights are a huge issue. That's why you're not going to see, you may never see a lot of the MTV cartoons, like Beavis and Butthead got all chopped up, Daria, things like that. It's rare to see that stuff get released, at least without it being chopped all to hell, because most of the stuff that ran on MTV featured a lot of popular music at the time that MTV had rights to, that they had no other distribution rights to. Look at Neon Genesis Evangelion, right? When the Netflix release. And if you're a fan of that show, you know, like the iconic end theme is, you know, Fly Me to the Moon, which is, I forget the original artist on that, and I think Frank Sinatra did it, but there's a whole rights thing with that they had the rights for broadcast and original distribution, and then for whatever reason, when they brought it back, they couldn't secure rights to that, which is probably just someone looking for more money, which is somewhat justifiable for the large sum of money. I don't have a number, but I know the large sum of money that the studio wanted to license Evangelion. But then, so they have to redub that, and it's not like it's advertised, but you know, they have to cut that out and redub that, or else they just can't bring it back. And it does play in like one of the episodes. It's kind of a pivotal scene, but it only really has that emotional impact because you've been hearing it as the end theme. I mean, that's an anime thing. Like when they play the opening theme, when things get really dramatic and the opening theme plays, it's kind of like a trope thing. So if you just change the theme to something else, as long as it's good, but that's, again, there's the accuracy thing. Like, yeah, this wasn't what it originally had. And the fear is that like you're never going to get that back unless you can find some bootleg DVD copies from when ADV was still around. But that happens to all kinds of things. It happens with movies, TV shows. TV shows are especially bad for it. Because when you're doing broadcast stuff, like you can get away with a lot more, I want to say. I feel like last time I didn't. Oh. Whoa. Oh, Jason's in the house. I just caught him. Well, there's a note here. Go into the cave. I don't think I will go into the cave. I don't think I want to go into the cave. But I will try and knife Jason. He's got an axe. I've got a D-pad issue, but I think I can. Yeah, dude gets way faster in the later levels. Later levels, the later days. If you manage to kill him, and then the next day he comes around. I guess will be the next day because the day never comes back. Yeah, I agree. So Samurai Champloo or Cowboy Bebop wouldn't be the same with different music. They absolutely would not. I think the guy that was behind most of the music for Samurai Champloo, I think he passed away. And then it's a bummer because, you know, a talented artist producing stuff and a decent person passes away. That's always sad. But then when you know, the selfish reasons, like you don't want the stuff to dry up. Sometimes those rights pass off to somebody else who's just like, I don't give a shit about cartoons. I don't care about this crap. I want a paycheck. You're going to pay me, or I'm not going to put anything out, or I don't like any of this and I don't want to sell it. I'm throwing it all in the garbage. Like some stupid stuff like that. I can imagine Cowboy Bebop not having the score based on who worked on that. But yeah, that you think about like music that has wormed its way into like a you know, a deep cultural connection, like the you know, memification of a lot of songs, and they throw it into movies. And then I would just look at Twitch, modern day Twitch, YouTube, any of that stuff, on how many copyright strikes and things go on. You know, Twitch had such a big issue that they tried to set up their own service of music, which is kind of like the music that I got playing on here. They set up their own music service so that streamers could have music playing that wasn't going to get them flagged for DMCA takedowns. But then it sounds like they didn't actually secure the rights and people were still getting flagged. And you have a lot of content like that out there that, like, I don't want to overstate or understate the value of any like random game streams or videos people have produced. But you have so much of that stuff that is just like, it's gone because somebody played a song or like hummed something and the DMCA rolled in and they're like, nope, that's our dollar now. Or worse, like if you're on YouTube, right, and you produce like a really awesome video and it contains some copyrighted music, and now they're just like, hey, we get all the money from this now. Just some bullshit. Hello, 30 seconds remaining. That's a ominous name. I'm very concerned what the next 30 seconds will bring. TikTok, yeah, TikTok is just songs made me mad. TikTok is like fine to me, that like I see some entertaining stuff from it, but I'll only ever see it if it ends up on YouTube. Which is funny because like there's such a weird like culture on that with these companies that they're like, oh, there's this new social platform that people are using where what do they do now? They make these short videos? Well, we do videos. What's that you say? Our videos are too long and also they're not formatted for looking at on a phone screen? Well, we can do that too. Oh wait, we don't want to do that anymore. We gave up. Yeah. I personally, I agree. 30 seconds remaining. The comment about taking full property in the video, that is some solid bullshit right there. You know, if your video was just the song, I get it. But if there's anything else and the song is just there, you don't really deserve much of any of that. Maybe you deserve some kind of cut, but I don't know how you could ever adjudicate that. Hopefully my chair is not too creaky here, but you know, if you produce like a really awesome video, put a lot of work into it, and then happen to use the wrong song, good night. The one good thing that came out of that is that there's so many people out there now that like it's a thriving industry of like, we made this music that is maybe generic sounding, but it's like I wonder what the breakdown is this stuff on. So right now, for example, I'm listening to stuff on Spotify, which I paid for mostly just so I would not have ads on this. And this is Stream Beats. This is the synthwave playlist. I'm digging it. I like it. And this is Harris Heller, interesting guy. He's made a lot of companies. You know, pretty seemingly successful person. But I thought this was really cool that they produce this stuff that's like, hey, we're musicians, and we got some musicians together, and we produce this music, and it's royalty free. Now they're making money off of this, I'm sure. I don't know how exactly the breakdown works on Spotify, but I guarantee they're making money you playing on Spotify. So there's that. YouTube's got it too. Although the YouTube library is pretty thin. There's a lot of people out there producing decent sounding music. The problem that I think a lot of people have is like, this music is decent and it's cool having the background, but this music isn't like, this isn't Freebird. This isn't, whatever 5 songs they play in every Vietnam movie ever. This isn't going to be the instant recognizable thing. And then it's kind of that trade-off. But they've also made it so that, the copyrights virtually never expire. So things never really enter the public domain anymore. And then the amount of this stuff, that just by sheer volume of the videos that are out there, the stuff that's making its way out there, God, I'm not keeping track of the beatings I receive at all. I spent a lot of time drawing this stuff, and then I just forget to hit the buttons. That's why I wanted to make it automated, but I couldn't make it happen in time. My little damaged face. But the sheer volume of content that is out there necessitates that they have some automated system, and everybody hates it because it's only going to go bad, and we all know it. But it's also the way the DMC is taken down. Like, there really is no consequence for people just making bad faith claims all day long. So, like, why wouldn't you? That's kind of the thing. If you can possibly make some money off of it. Whoop. Oh, that was that song. I was so confused for a second because I swore I heard like Mario music. Oliver Jackson. I love it. Oliver, you referring to TikTok? You a TikTok fan? No judgment. That's just not something I see. I'm so disconnected from that stuff. By the time, like Vine, by the time I heard about Vine, and I was like, oh, that sounds pretty neat. It was because I was watching a video talking about how it was, or reading an article discussing how it was going to die. And I was like, oh, well, I guess I missed the boat. Yeah, now that the Let's Plays and the DMCA stuff was huge. It's still a problem because it's the same thing. A lot of game companies are more friendly now about. Yes, Oliver's a fan of TikTok. I respect that. You'll have to. I was gonna say send me some stuff. I don't even know how I'd view it. We'll discuss this. There seem to be largely more open to people doing videos and making money off the videos. Even Nintendo came back around from their weird stance. But they're all pretty clear that it's like, hey, you can use our game, but like maybe not the music. And that I get that. But then it's like, it sucks that you put this music in that you don't have the rights to, and then you're back in the Nintendo, or not Nintendo, the MTV shows vein, where like they made this and used the song because they thought it was cool, and and now they're kind of hosed because they can never use it again because they don't have those kind of rights to it. Yes. Yes, I don't know. Oh, I just rolled right into that. I just rolled straight into that. Chrissy's dead. George. Mark. See, Mark is, I feel like, and I think like, touching Mark is a mistake because he's so perfect, and I'm just gonna get him killed. I'm gonna waste it. It's like giving someone who's never driven before like a really awesome classic muscle car and just being like, yeah, just go to the corner store. Like that car's gonna get wrecked. And that's Mark. Mark is that cherry Mustang, and I'm, you know, an 85-year-old blind man. Yeah, the automated matches are ugly. You know, there's a problem with I'm sure it affects more than this, but I saw it hitting a lot of VTubers content that clippers, which much like the those little suction things that feed off of the sides of sharks that perform like a necessary function, clippers are excellent for people doing live streaming content, because like they're doing work for you for free that will potentially bring you more views and more audience and can make and break people. And so it's a tough battle because like a lot of these VTubers, like clippers, will put clips out, but some of these people are putting clips out before the stream has finished, and thus before the archive goes up, so that by the time the stream finishes and they put up the archive, now the archive is going to match this other video that preempts it. And like their automated system doesn't factor in the stream time to the content creation. They just factor in when the finished video is uploaded, which obviously is after the stream's over. So if you're clipping someone's stuff and you put the clip up before the stream's over, now your stuff's going to be seen as the original, and they're going to get a bunch of copyright strikes. But it's like an automated system is going to pick that up, but like any human being looking at that would immediately be like, yeah, no, that's not what this is. But like they can't pay that many human beings to look at it. And what a life that would be. Like, I watch endless YouTube videos, like that would be kind of hellish. They can't, or if they could, they won't, certainly, but there's just too much. But the automated systems like definitely are not there yet. See, Mark's got that machete. He's got the juice. I mean, I could make a run for it with Mark here. Debbie's in the house, though. If I can get out of there. I'm gonna make a run for it with Debbie. She's just a little bit messed up, you know? Okay. That's my random focus on the game. So in theory, travels. Well, again, damn it! No! Yeah, I wish the comment put clips up of the Super Bowl before it's done. Make millions when they post it. That's the thing. Somehow I don't see that stuff happening. But then again, I swear that could happen. I swear that the things could be dumb enough. But I have to believe with the worst, most cynical view that for big time stuff like that, like they will pay to have someone have eyes on that, and it's just everyone else you're on your own. Which is weird. Like, it seemed like for a while there was a lot more like big corporate stuff making its way onto YouTube, or companies being like, I want a piece of this. And I think that it seemed like they kind of gave up on a lot of it, maybe. Ever heard of tabs? What do you mean by tabs? Do you mean like, do you mean guitar tabs? I think you don't mean guitar tabs. Pop tabs. Tabs in a browser I'm very familiar with. I generally have like 100 of them open at any time because I'm a tab hoarder. And open pages, and like, I'll come back to this later. I don't want to bookmark it because I'll forget the bookmark's there and I'll never look at it. But if I leave the tab open, it'll stand as a constant reminder that I need to look at this. I'm still not going to look at it. And a month from now, I'll start closing my tabs and see something and be confused why I have it open as to why I would ever want to look at this. But it made sense at the time. Ow. No. Well, no, I don't think I have heard of. I'm assuming I haven't heard of the tabs that I think you might be talking about, a different tabs. It's a game. Oh, that's an acronym for Totally Accurate Battle Simulator, correct? Because that I have heard of. Why do you have to go all the way down there? Why was I going? I was trying to chase him. I think this cabin will do it. Yes, if that is Totally Accurate Battle Simulator, I have heard of it. It's a fun game. Well, I only played it a little bit. It looks very entertaining.
Hello, George.
George's health is not bad. Paul was good. Take it a little bit, a couple licks. Second one. One good belt. Take it outside. Take it to the streets. Throw some rocks on this man. Now, surely he's going this way. Because the lake is this way. There's no way he's not going this way. I really don't know. Where did he go? No, he went the other way. Somebody's in that house. Laura's in that house. Laura's in that house getting attacked. Can I make it out of the house? Don't turn the wrong way. Don't look the wrong way. Go out the door. Get outside. Okay. I don't know if my pausing is throwing more time off. It's got to be going this way. According to the arrows I'm looking at on this map, it moves around the lake and it rolls back around. He may just keep rolling. She's pretty good though. She's pretty zippy, pretty speedy here. I don't think he rolls in the lake that way. I think he cuts around. Hey Mal, thanks for coming out. Thanks for checking out the content. I'm glad we're able to sort of reconnect here. It's been a long time. You know, I didn't have a lot of viewer names that I really recognized. So it was really awesome to see somebody that I recognized here and touch base. And I'm really glad to hear that you're doing well. And I hope you continue to do well and have a great time. Get some rest. Have a good night's sleep. And we'll see you in the next one. Hopefully there'll be something between now and May of 2022. So keep watching the skies, because that's where I'll be in the sky probably. The Batsuit maybe. But anyway, take care. Have a good one. You want me to make a video of Totally Accurate Battle Simulator? I'll check it out. See what the story is. I don't think I own that. Playing other people's stuff, but surely I can acquire it. Where is he going? Here he's here. No. Yes, there he is. I thought I'd dodged too much. Well, she's not doing hot, but solid option. Keep chasing him down, even though she doesn't have a great weapon. So he doesn't go back down that way. It goes back around. This house is circled. I don't know why this house is circled. I feel like I missed a ton of content, or not content, a ton of context with this map that I have. I feel like I'm missing information because it has stuff that's circled and I don't know why it's circled, and it's large swaths of the map that are not labeled at all or have no arrows on them. So it's just impassable. And he just beelined it straight back to the lake. That's wild. Well, once again, I haven't, I failed to. There's Mark. I'll send Mark. I failed to accomplish anything meaningful, game-wise. Perhaps we'll do it entertaining. This stream was totally worth it for me. To be able to chat with those of you that and that was the lake. That's where I want to go, isn't it? To chat with, no, that's the first. To chat with everybody here and have some people hang out while I play this game. I'm not gonna say it's a miserable experience. How am I missing the lake? How did I always do this? I just hope nobody showed up expecting me to actually beat this, because, you know, I'm not that great. But that's sort of the deal with it. How do I always go the wrong way? It's just a tradition thing. Like, I don't hold any faith that I'll ever defeat this game, but I'll keep trying and keep playing it just because it's Friday the 13th and it matches. Oh! 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 His Mark's pretty buffed up there, but he does have 2 vitamin bottles. And that is good enough for me. For now, make some less desperate stand here. God dang it, there was no dodging that. Well, it's no longer Friday the 13th either, because midnight has rolled through. And that means that my time is soon to be up. So about 15 more minutes, and then I will have to call it a night, because I also have to be up in the morning. And at this point, my mind is, I've strayed too far off the path of the game and too far into wild, probably very poorly informed rants about the state of various industries. Movies, but that's what I bring. That's what I have to offer, and that is all I care to hone, more so than whether I can beat Friday the 13th. It is a strange game. It's an interesting game, and if you can kind of lock in on and hone the intricacies, such as they are, of this game better than I can, things start to make more sense and go a lot quicker. I just tend to play this game and my mind wanders, and then I just kind of lose sight of what initial strategy I want. It's something that it becomes a little too much. And it's weird because I play other games that have a lot more micromanaging stuff than this. But it's like there's so much going on that you got to get these different people through this different set of hoops you got to jump through to get this torch, was a really good weapon. There's other weapons you can get with different hoops you can jump through. But then while you're doing that, you have to manage where everyone is on the board, and the board, such as the map, move around to fight Jason, get kids. So you want to get as many people weapons as possible as early as possible in the game. You want to get Jason knocked out as early in the day as you can, because when night falls, you get a lot more enemies that make it a lot more of a pain. The weirdest stuff is like the item stuff. That's what always gets me, because that's such a trap. Like, just this jumping becomes like a horrible trap where, like, you've got a good weapon. He really just like came out and got me while I was like rando jumping there, and I just ate it. And then he went back to the lake. He stabbed me, and in the course of 3 seconds, he flew like a witch on a broom up to that house on the lake. And I'm gonna die. And I'm going the wrong way. To get at those kids. Those kids in the lake must be like the tastiest children in existence. I mean, I don't know that he's eating them, but there's not a lot of bodies, so he's got to be eating them, right? Oh. 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 All right, I can't take it anymore. I had a lot of fun playing this game. Yeah, I had a lot of fun playing this game. I had a lot of fun hanging out with all of you. Streaming something I don't get to do nearly as much as I want, and I really would love to do it more. I felt a lot more comfortable this time than I did the last time, despite not being able to work with any of this stuff and all that time. So I really appreciate everybody coming out and watching me and enjoying, such as it is, and your feedback on audio and all that stuff. Super helpful to me. I'm going to call it an evening, because I think if I try to carry out the life and death of any of these 4 young children, I will just probably completely lose it. I'll just lose all the sanity that remains stored up in there. And there's no vitamin bottles. There's no red potion in real life, unfortunately. So I'm gonna call it a night now. Make sure you come on back. May 13th, 2022 is the next Friday the 13th, unless I've miscalculated, in which case I will surely find out before that Friday the 13th is. In the meantime, I'm gonna find some other stuff and continue to work on things and try to get some videos up, maybe, or stream some more, maybe. So I guess the standard YouTube: subscribe and hit that notification so you see if I do anything. Do it if you want. Don't do it if you don't. It doesn't cost you anything to subscribe, but it does, it can be a pain. Anyway, cool. I will see all of you. I don't know. I don't know if I'll ever see any of you. If I don't know if I've truly seen you now. I'm so used to ending everything with "I'll see you later," and I don't know if we'll do that. But I hope to see some or all of you again the next time I stream this or any other great game. I am Jummington. This has been my delightful Friday the 13th part 2. I hope to keep it going. And now it is Saturday the 14th, and so I must bid you farewell. Thanks for coming. Enjoy your evening. Stay safe.